o'clock. It's time for Soup and Meatballs, catching up on all the events of the sports week, the pop culture week, the Gen X week. I'm Max. This guy is Tim. Tim, how you doing this week, man?
I am having a great week. We were just talking off camera. I went to the movies. I got to see Thunderbolts, which anyone who's watching who hasn't seen it, highly recommended.
Yeah, so my sister said she was going to. I'd never heard of this thing before. So is this new in the Marvel universe, or is this a sub movie, or?
So it's from the comics, but it's like a team up like the Avengers, where they take kind of like characters who have like checkered pasts, like they've been good guys, they've been bad guys, and they're all sort of like thrown together onto a ragtag team.
This sounds like something we did last week with pro wrestling.
A little bit, yeah. It's got a Survivor Series vibe to it.
If you go out onto my personal Facebook page and you look at the picture I put up for Star Wars Day, I just saw this before the show started. It was the Macho Man as Luke Skywalker. He's sitting there with his finger.
I saw that with Miss Elizabeth.
I don't think that was Elizabeth. I think that was Sherry.
Oh, I assumed it was Elizabeth. I didn't look closely enough.
I think you assumed incorrectly. It did. I couldn't zoom in really tight on my phone, but it was the black hair that did it for me. Yeah. I think that was Sherry. But you know what? Elizabeth had black hair for the NWO, so who knows?
In my mind, it was Elizabeth.
I think that would have made more sense, but putting Randy Savage in the Star Wars universe doesn't make much sense either. Somebody had commented underneath the actual picture that I shared, the hologram at the end of Return of the Jedi with Yoda, Obi-Wan, and then Macho Man as the Macho King. No, he wasn't the Macho King. It was like the '90s outfit that he wore. Oh,
like the Slim Jim like robes.
Yeah. The straight up '90s gear, which is actually a nice segue into what our top story is. Not this, but I don't know if you watched it at all yesterday. I was at a restaurant with TVs, so the Kentucky Derby was on. Did you watch any of that?
No, I was watching the Sox and Twins, and I woke up to hear about the winner.
I mean, I'm not a horse racing guy. I have friends who are. Like, I have friends who are like in the board gaming world, love horse racing. Like, it's their thing.
I enjoy it. Like, if I'm out, like if like the casino in Wilkes-Barre has it, like they have harness racing or whatever. Like, it's interesting, and sometimes I've been I went to the Preakness years ago. That was a lot of fun.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's down in Baltimore.
I think either Jen or her mom asked, like, what's it like when you go there? Like, I think the question was, why would you go there? And it was rainy, and like I had no answer. Like, I don't know, why would you?
So it was a little rainy when I went to the Preakness, but it did dry up. And first of all, like you think it's just one race, but it's like 12 to 15. It's like a full day of races, and like the Kentucky Derby, like the highlight race is like the main event, but there's what we would consider an undercard of races. And all I can say about the Preakness is there were 5 concerts happening at once in the infield, like Florida Georgia Line, Pitbull, like there were all different types of music. The infield was like a wild party where there were people enjoying, adult beverages and other substances. And then like in the bleachers, like you had the people who were wearing like the old-timey seersucker suits and the floppy hats.
That's a big thing.
You could have the experience you wanted to have if you were a party guy who was just there to pass out in the infield, which I saw more than a little of that. You could see that, but also when you went to the stands, you could have the experience of like, oh, it's fancy, and people are drinking their signature drinks.
It reminds me of NASCAR
a little bit.
Like I'm not a NASCAR guy either by any stretch, but working in TV, I covered my share of Pocono races.
Yeah.
And the infield was one thing, but then we would talk to people out in the grandstand, which was a completely different thing.
Right.
But as far as horse racing goes, the track it looked like chocolate pudding. Oh, it was so bad. And but my thing was the jockeys as they're doing the jockey walk, the outfits they were wearing, they looked like the old 90s wrestlers men on a mission, I thought.
I won't be happy until NBC starts doing the jockey introductions the way they do like the NBA All-Star player introductions.
Give these guys some dap, man. Yeah, like
yeah, like something off of Jock Jams playing very loudly in the background.
jock jams for jockey jams, because that just
Yeah,
makes
that's what we need. We need jockey jams.
total sense. All right, that's the next show we do. We have to our draft our jockey jams. Like what would work for horse racing?
And we can send it along so that maybe they'll use it for the Preakness.
That would be
which will be the next race.
So bad. What was not bad? Well, actually, what was bad, I guess, if you're looking for a good game. I don't know if you saw Game 7 last night, as the Denver Nuggets just took it to the Los Angeles Clippers. It was a close game for the most part, and I watched. I had it on. I don't think I watched all of it. I was doom scrolling on my phone whilst watching on TV. The last thing I remember hearing the announcer say was something about James Harden falling flat in Game 7s, and there's another Game 7 where, didn't matter what Los Angeles did, they couldn't stop Denver. So Denver advances. Tim, your thoughts on Denver, LA yesterday?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, obviously, hats off to Denver. That was the toughest series, I think, even more so than Golden State and Houston, which will be going to Game 7 today. But for Denver to kind of like, I did not think Denver was going to win this series. So you have to give it up, not only for Jokic, but for the guys around him. Christian Brown had a good series. Aaron Gordon came through, Jamal Murray. So, but more so, I think this is going to be, you kind of mentioned James Harden. I think it's going to be another kind of knock on his legacy where he's great, but yet still not good enough. Where this is now four different teams where he's lost a Game 7 in the playoffs with, because he's done it in LA, he did it in Houston, Brooklyn, and Philly. So
mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's just going to be kind of another demerit on his resume.
Demerit.
That's my old Catholic school talking. We used to get demerits for misbehaving at St. Peter's.
That works. I mean, he didn't have statistically the best game. Like I said, I didn't watch. I don't know Denver clamped him down. The one thing that I can think about is there anybody more disappointed in this outcome than Nikola Jokic? Because now he has to play a minimum of 4 more games before he goes home.
My horses.
Seriously. But you said today, what time is the game today?
There's 2 games today because Cleveland and Indiana play at 6. And then I believe Golden State and Houston are the 8:30.
Gotcha. So there's your updated bracket. They do play today, amazingly. The second round starts before the first round ends. Tonight's game in Houston, does Golden State have a chance to win on the road?
They do. It depends. This series has been so dependent on, as you might imagine, if the shots are falling. For the first 3 games, Fred VanVleet couldn't buy a bucket. The last 3 games, he's been unstoppable for Houston. Houston, the last 3 games have mostly kept Steph in check. And, the guys around him haven't been doing a whole lot. So, it's just going to be which Fred VanVleet Houston gets. And, if the people around Steph are going to put the ball in the basket.
What do you got?
I'm marginally going to take Houston, just
okay.
having the home floor and having the younger legs.
I think the Game 7 experience that Curry has, I think he finds a way to win on the road, and we're going to have – you see all the chalk in the East, and we're going to have a 6-7 matchup here in the West.
I would love
the 6-3 matchup. I don't know. I don't have anybody surprised that Los Angeles lost. Maybe the way they lost. A gentleman's sweep. You talked about Harden's legacy. People talk about LeBron as the best of all time. And depending how old you are, like I will argue with humans of a younger age because they don't understand basketball from the 80s and 90s. what does this do with? Does it affect LeBron's legacy at all, or was it what it was anyway?
So
is he too old for it to matter?
For me to say this, it's going to make me sound like a LeBron hater. So first of all, let me just preface this by saying I'm a LeBron appreciator who just happens to feel that Jordan is the better player of the two. It just seems that LeBron supporters, they want to be like, oh, Jordan wasn't leading his team in scoring and leading his team to a 3 seed when he was 40. But then when LeBron loses, they want to be like, what do you want from him? He's 40. They want to have it both ways. And then for LeBron to be like, oh, no, I had a sprained MCL. It just feels like he does this every time he doesn't make a finals, where he's like, oh, it was my ankle. It was my MCL. I was dealing with a bone bruise in my hand. We just, I think those things, as much as the on-court stuff, diminish his legacy.
I was going to ask you about the leg thing, because I had sent you the video of him getting absolutely obliterated by DiVincenzo. Oh, wait, no. He ran into DiVincenzo and he went down.
You would have thought he stepped on an active mine.
And his teammates, when your teammates don't run over and check on you, that's when you've gotten to the point where you are the boy that has cried wolf too many times. That's what hurts it for me. There's two things that bug me about LeBron James. One, and it goes way back, I have a long memory of the decision. You don't get an hour broadcast if you're a free agent to say you're going to Miami. It's a 20-minute press conference, and it's a big thing on SportsCenter. I don't need a big commercially run show, and ESPN's partially at fault for that. But two, it's the LaFlopping. And I can't get over, oh, well, now he comes out and says he had a knee injury. That feels very convenient for me. And,
right.
and if he's hurt, that's one thing. And when Jordan had his flu game, you knew about it beforehand.
Right.
But this coming out post injury to DiVincenzo, it looks bad.
There are a couple things that just I feel are bad optics, especially if you're not of the generation that grew up with LeBron. Like, if I'd been like 14 or 15 when LeBron came to the league, I'm sure I'd be singing a different tune. But the fact is that this is a player-driven era where you can choose the situation that you want to be in if you're a player of certain clout. And so for LeBron to go from Cleveland to then being like, I want Wade and Bosh, to now they're trying to frame it as, oh, LeBron didn't, like, Bosh wasn't a superstar. Bosh was a top 10 player in the league when that team formed.
Probably the top power forward in the league.
Right. And then for him to go to a situation, he leaves Miami to go to a situation where it's him, Kyrie, and Kevin Love. And then for him to go to a situation where he goes to LA where it's him and Anthony Davis. And then he ships out Anthony Davis to bring in Luka. And like for all of that, and it's like some years they haven't gone to the playoffs. There have been a lot of first round exits. They have the one bubble title. He's
a very mid-tier GM, LeBron James is.
Yeah. It makes me want to enter whatever fantasy basketball league he might be in. To be honest. So, and now they're talking about, oh, the Lakers are going to get Giannis. Oh, the Lakers are going to make a run at Bam Adebayo. How stacked do you need to make the deck to get this guy a fifth ring?
Here's the thing. Let's talk Luka first, because that was the first kind of domino that fell trade-wise. Luka has, I think, 2 more years on his deal before he becomes a free agent.
And he'll obviously get a max.
Yeah. So before that, can you where would you rank this trade now in terms of like S tier, A, B, C, D? Like, is it like the best trade ever? I mean, I know we don't know how it's going to end up. But right now, for me, it kind of feels like the Juan Soto trade, where the Yankees got rid of Michael King, and they got 1 year of Soto, they got a pennant, and then they lost him. The Lakers gave up Anthony Davis. They made the playoffs, but they left a lot more disappointingly. But they've got 2 years left of Luka.
So the Lakers still won this trade, and I still think they won this trade considerably because of Luka's age. You have a 26-year-old who's a top 3 player in the world, who, as LeBron decides, as he makes his way through his 40s, he wants to retire. Now you can build around Luka, until Luka's in his early to mid 30s. So it's and I love Anthony Davis, but he's injury prone. He's a big guy. You wonder how he's going to age with the injury history he has. How his joints are going to age, how his back's going to age, how long, how many more mileage, is left on Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers had the bad luck of having everyone in their supporting cast go really cold, where Austin Reeves did not have a good series.
Would it have mattered if they didn't cancel the Mark Williams trade?
Well,
that's when they really got hammered down on the blocks defensively.
They desperately needed size to deal with Gobert and Julius Randle, Julius Randle rather.
Gobert crushed him in Game 5. He was averaging 3 points. I think he came down with 27.
Yeah, he is not even what I would consider like an average NBA offensive player. Like he has troubles catching entry passes. And he put up like 28 in Game 5?
I thought it was 26. It was something that was way above his average.
Yeah, he was just dominating. He was just.
And it was one of those things like in football, if you keep handing the ball off and you get 5 yards every time, okay, let's just keep doing it until you stop it. Yeah. Except the Lakers didn't stop it.
Yeah. So obviously they have to get bigger. They don't have to bring in a splash player to play the 5, but they need someone substantial to push around the bigs of the West on the block. And they need to get deeper because that game where they played their starting 5 for the entire second half with no substitutions. I
did that to Saul Sereni once. We only 5 kids showed up for playground basketball, so we played, and I was tired. I can't imagine playing an NBA game an entire half with the only timeouts you get are the TV timeouts.
And it was a calculated gamble by JJ Redick to say,
"Oh, if it worked, he'd be a genius." But
exactly, if they move on to the second round, everyone's heralding, "Oh my God, thinking outside the box." So I get why he took the gamble, but the gamble didn't pay off, and so you have to deal with the fallout from it. And so I think the lesson from that is you have to get some quality depth on that bench, especially for when the Rui Hachimuras and the Austin Reeves, when their shots aren't falling, when Dalton Connect, whenever JJ feels like putting him in a game, if his shot's not falling. You need like the way that Boston can turn to Peyton Pritchard, or Luke Cornett. You need those character guys, those depth guys, to come in off your bench to not only spell your stars, but to spell like your second tier offensive threats.
Now you talked about the stars and Giannis. Giannis's name came up. Now, what's his contract situation in Milwaukee? I thought he had 1 year left, or is he an opt-out guy?
That's a great question. I think he's an opt-out guy. Okay, I think he can opt out this summer.
When I saw I saw some debate about the Luka trade, so I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, he has 2 years left. And I looked up Giannis. I looked up potential free agents, and it looked like on I think it was StatMuse that I saw. It looked like he still had a year on his contract, but I don't know if he can opt out. They don't mark that down for whatever reason. If Giannis leaves Milwaukee and goes to LA, you have a two-headed beast of Giannis and Luka with LeBron. LeBron is still amazing at his age, but he's not LeBron when he's 29 years old. And I think Giannis allows him to take a Robin role. Like he's not Batman anymore, but he's not ready to be Robin, I think, if that makes sense. I don't know if Giannis wants to go to LA, though.
I wouldn't entirely agree with that because I still feel like LeBron is playing at an all NBA level, which is amazing at 40. He'll be 41 this December.
You said it's more tread on the tires next year.
Right. But he averaged like 25, 8 and 6 this year. Like that's all NBA level production. But yeah, I do think the plan is if they can land someone like Giannis or Bam Adebayo to roll back LeBron's minutes, try to rely on the younger guys a little bit and save LeBron for, April, May, and June, potentially, of next year. I just don't know.
I don't know if the money works, though.
Yeah, I don't know if the money works. And also,
that's where the cap really changes things in the NBA.
And if we already talk about LeBron ring chasing, if he brings in Giannis, Like you have to wonder how worried or conscious LeBron is about the whispers about his legacy and always bringing in like top tier guys to complement his talent. But also, I think he wants that fifth ring more than anything.
Yeah, he only has so many more jumps in him at 41, 42. Although, I mean, how long did Brady play?
Till he was 45.
The modern medicine and rehab techniques, maybe see LeBron played till he's 45 as well. But I think if he's able to not have to worry and not have to be the 25-8 guy, you probably get more out of him. And I don't think he wants to load manage either, because that's even more criticism. Oh, look at this. He's only playing 50 games this year. That's when you can say, well, he's 42. Even though I don't know what Jordan played when he was with Washington, how many games he played.
I mean, Jordan was missing considerable amount of time because he was a 40-year-old man. I mean, he was breaking down. I mean, LeBron, what he's doing now, just in terms of durability and productivity, is clearly better than what Jordan was doing in Washington in like 02 and 03 or whenever he was there.
Well, in the 02-03 season, he played 82 games and he scored 20 a game.
Okay. So
And
LeBron missed some
it was
time
the
with
01-02 season. He played 60 games, but he scored 23 a game.
Okay. Yeah, and what were LeBron's numbers this year? He missed some time with the back. I know he missed like a week or two.
If we get our...
But he played more than 65 games. He's eligible for award consideration.
It's just telling me that ESPN's going slow. He was going slow earlier today, too. Come on now. Here we go. LeBron James led the Lakers with he was at 24-4.
Okay.
So that means comparable.
Well,
seven rebounds a game, 8 assists a game.
And also, I mean, LeBron had more around him, so there were fewer points to be had because he was either playing with AD or Luka. Jordan was playing with Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown, who he drafted, so he deserves that. That's a good question. Who was on those 02-03 Wizards?
They were terrible, and Jordan was miserable there. If you've ever read the Michael Leahy book, When Nothing Else Matters, because Jordan was so accustomed to the Chicago success. At 40, it seems like he was fed up with the idea of having to build from scratch again.
He had a fellow North Carolina Tar Heel, Jerry Stackhouse, on that team.
Yeah.
Then I want to say this guy went to North Carolina too, but I could be wrong.
Who is it?
He did. Brendan Haywood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brendan Haywood was a good Tar Heel.
But then he also played with the Dookie. Christian Laettner was on that team.
Oh, wow.
Along with
fellow
Tyronn
Dream Teamer.
What's that?
Fellow Dream Teamer Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
Ping pong nemesis.
This can't be the same. It is though. Charles Oakley was on that team.
Him and Oakley go back to the late 80s.
The Chicago days. Pride of Maryland, Juan Dixon.
Oh, sure. National champion.
Along with Kwame Brown, Larry Hughes, who had some success in Philadelphia. Eton Thomas, who is actually a
Syracuse
pretty good player. So, I mean, this team, they didn't play well, but they had some players on this team. Wow.
Yeah, there were some pieces there who ended up maturing either before Jordan's time there or after Jordan's time, because Larry Hughes did have a pretty nice NBA career.
Let's blame the coach. Doug Collins is totally at fault here. That's why he got run out of Chicago the first time.
And it's funny because Doug Collins was handpicked by Jordan for the Washington situation.
Let's be fair. Jordan as an executive is probably as good as LeBron as an executive.
Yeah.
Both of them phenomenally better on the court than in the front office. And last thing on the court, as you can see, down in the lower right, New York, Boston. And what was the closest game they played this year? Like 20?
The last game they played in the regular season, they went to overtime.
It doesn't get whatever. I'm sure Boston cared
But
about that.
Boston won that one. They were able to come back and then win in overtime.
So, I mean, if this series goes 5, I think that's the best New York can do. They're not going to win 4 games. They might win 2, but I think that's a stretch. I really do. This feels like Boston. We said this for weeks in advance. Nothing New York has done in the playoffs against Detroit has made me think that they can handle Boston. Although I will say this, they're more playoff tested this year than Boston, but Boston was a 2 playing the Magic, and the Pistons probably they probably should have beat the Knicks. Let's be honest. Yeah. I don't know if the Knicks deserve to be here.
You know what? The only thing that worries me about the Knicks is that Brunson's on a little bit of a heater now, where you know, if he gets on one of those crazy rolls, maybe the Knicks do win, you know, and push it to 6. But I do like Boston in 5 in that series. As long as they stay healthy. They got beat up a little bit by Orlando. Porzingis, you know, got the bloody head, and Tatum had the bone bruise on the wrist. But they've had time to rest now, and I think Boston can win that comfortably.
So if the Knicks win 2 games, is Jalen Brunson a top 3 Knick of all time? Who said that you sent it to me?
Jay Williams, the former Duke.
The Duke point guard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Jay Williams played his career in Chicago before he got hurt.
And look, I'm not a Jalen Brunson hater. Like, I liked him at Villanova.
Oh no, I
liked him in Dallas, and I like him in New York. But to call him the greatest Knick of all time after 3 seasons when he hasn't even been to a finals, let alone won a title, is a slap in the face to, you know, Walt Frazier and Willis Reed and Ewing.
Ewing made a final. He played in the.
He made 2 finals because they went in '99 when they lost to the Spurs.
He just couldn't get past Jordan. Man, there were some good Knicks back in the day. Oh, Carmelo was a scoring machine.
Bernard King in the '80s.
King. Allen Houston. Larry Johnson spent time in New York. I liked Larry Johnson in New York, but Jalen Brunson he has some work to do to get on that list.
Sprewell was a great Knick.
Not about great. Was he great? He was pretty good.
He's the one who led them to the title
in '99.
The championship game in '99 because Ewing got hurt against Indiana. So that was entirely like Houston, Sprewell, and LJ because Larry Johnson hit that 4-point play against Indiana that helped them get out of that series.
So, I mean, any one of them have arguments. We'll see. Well, if Brunson gets past Boston, then there's a conversation that to possibly be had. I wonder what Jalen Brunson would be like in the front office because, you know, Michael was bad. LeBron is not so good. We're going to find out what Greg Popovich is like in the front office, though, as he took some time off from coaching, and now he's no longer going to be the head coach. He's going to transition to the front office, and Mitch Johnson, the interim coach, is going to take over permanently. So first off, Tim, what does this do to the Spurs on the court?
You know, I don't think it changes them much on the court just because they had so much time with Mitch Johnson. You know, Popovich had a stroke back in the winter. So Johnson had more than half a season with them. And honestly, it's interesting because San Antonio has been another rumored landing spot for Giannis to pair him with Wembanyama and
we'll see what
De'Aaron Fox.
Situation is like.
What's that?
Let's see. With Wemby, it would be interesting to see what Wemby's injury situation, the blood clot situation, is like. I haven't heard anything new about that, but word blood clot scares me. That's all.
It does, you know, and it's interesting because Damian Lillard was dealing with a similar situation, was able to come back, and then ruptured his Achilles in the playoffs.
That was a rough. They did a slow mo of that, and nobody needs to see that.
Yeah, but I haven't heard any setbacks for Wembanyama so far, so I'm assuming it's just recovery as expected.
I think Giannis in San Antonio would be very, very intriguing. They would have a very, very formidable front line, and De'Aaron Fox running things in the backcourt would be something to see. And I don't know. I mean, Mitch Johnson, I think, is part of the whole Popovich tree, so you don't lose a lot of consistency. Popovich in the front office is interesting because he has a good eye for talent.
Yeah, and I mean, he came from the front office. He basically gave himself the job in the late '90s when who was there? Bob Hill, I think, was the coach at that time when Popovich took over, and then almost immediately took him to the lockout shortened season. The title, they beat the Knicks in '99 when Duncan was in his second or third year, and. But yeah, that during that whole run of 5 titles, Popovich was either very involved in the front office or had an active role in the front office. So I don't think much is going to change in San Antonio. But I will be curious. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. The fact that he didn't come back to coach from the stroke leads me to wonder if this is like a ceremonial move to keep him around. Or like I hope he's still able to do the job and be an active and participating member of the front office, because he is such a great basketball mind, and he might be my favorite non-Celtic coach. He might just be my favorite coach in NBA history, Popovich, even including Celtic coaches.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stories that I've heard, that when I hear them, I think to myself, wow, he's a really great guy. My first thought when I see him, and you kind of see a picture of him there, he reminds me of John Kramer from the Saw series, the actor Tobin Bell.
Yeah,
I mean they're almost a dead ringer. Like, so if there was ever a biopic of Popovich's life and career, right now I think Bell would be the perfect guy to lead him. And the one thing that I think that I remember is that he was the first to hire a female coach, Becky Hammond, on the Spurs staff. And so he's progressive thinking and trying to better his team as best he can. And it's in the front office now. I just looked it up. San Antonio has a 6% chance of landing the top pick in the lottery. If they don't win the lottery, they're looking at pick number 8, I think. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I don't know what they would be looking for, but from what I heard, it's a deep lottery. Like you'll find talent everywhere in the top 10. So
it would be interesting to think, because they have had such luck getting number 1 picks, because obviously they landed, the top pick to get Robinson, they landed the top pick to get Duncan, they landed it to get Wembanyama. It would be interesting if they were the same way they were able to pair Duncan and Robinson, if they could pair Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg.
And if they pull Giannis Antetokounmpo,
yeah,
that all of a sudden becomes, in a very stacked and powerful West, they become immediate contenders, I think.
Can you imagine a front court of 7'5", 6'11", and then your small forwards 6'9", but plays like a point guard?
6'9", yeah.
An embarrassment.
And they all can shoot. That's the thing. Like in today's NBA, you got to be able to shoot from 40 feet.
Yeah,
they all have that.
Yeah, in fact, I'd be curious to see what kind of offense they'd construct, because of the 3, the one with the least reliable outside shot is Giannis. So I wonder if the 6'11" guy ends up on the block where you have Wembanyama playing out beyond the arc.
That something to see, but they've got to defy the odds and win the first pick. I think they're going to end up at 8. But when do they want to do the lottery? In the conference finals, I think, right?
Yeah, the conference finals, and then the draft is June.
I like lottery day. That's you know what, we talked about our favorite sports days, like our mini event. I think the draft lottery is fun, and I've heard rumblings that they should get rid of it and it's dumb. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I just remember when NBC used to do it during halftime of whichever playoff game, and when the Magic got back-to-back number 1 picks. I can't remember who the executive was for the Magic. Who just
Brian Hill, I think.
It might have been Brian Hill.
Before he was coaching, he was the representative that was there. Do you remember the year I called Milwaukee?
Wait, you called Milwaukee to get the number 1 pick, or you called
Yeah,
them on the phone?
when they drafted Glenn Robinson. No, I didn't call them on the phone.
Okay.
I said I should watch the Bucks get the first pick, and they did, and they drafted Glenn Robinson.
Yeah, 95, 94.
That was the thing. That was the best prognostication I've ever done. Let's switch up here. Let's basketball will be deep into the second round by our next show. We are 30 some odd games into Major League Baseball right now. And before we talk about anything baseball wise, did you see the video from Pittsburgh?
I did.
Because holy cow, according to reports, at least the guy who fell is alert. He's awake. And the Pirates had conducted an internal investigation to figure out what happened. They analyzed his credit card receipts. They talked to fans that were around him. And according to the reports, he had not purchased any alcohol, but he did consume 2 beers during the game.
Yeah.
It was too far away to really get a good glimpse of why he did what he did. But, oh my goodness, I can't imagine. Well, I think it was during McCutchen had hit a ball to left field. So the action was going this way. I don't think any of the players on the field saw what happened. They saw the aftermath.
Seems like the guys in the dugout were the first ones to see what had actually happened because they were calling for help.
Absolutely a scary and gruesome scene. But it's good to hear that he's awake and he's alert. And it was just dumb luck that somebody had video of it. The
video just popped up without warning on my Twitter, and I was like, "Wait, what happened?"
You hadn't seen it? Didn't?
Yeah, I was just scrolling through my phone. What night was that? Tuesday or Wednesday? And it just popped up in my timeline where people were like, "Did this really happen?" Like people who were watching the game, who saw the camera angle, were like, "Wait, did someone fall off the Clemente wall?"
And you were the one who brought my attention to it because you had said he did a Peter Pan right here off this bridge, which harks back to The Fugitive when Harrison Ford actually jumps off this ledge. It looked like he did like 3 flips, so it looked like he did something similar. Like that was a good comparison.
Yeah. I'm trying to even understand because maybe during the double, he got up, and I mean, 2 beers isn't a lot, but maybe his balance was a little compromised and he reached for the rail. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. He did fall, and the first responders did a great job, from what I could see, of just getting him stabilized and getting him to. I think he's at Allegheny County. But
out in Pittsburgh, doing what you need to do. I will tell you this: whenever I go to games, well, first of all, I am absolutely, thoroughly, and without question terrified of heights. I don't do heights really well. If I stand on a chair, my hands get clammy. When my dad and I went to the World Series game last year, we were quite literally higher than the American flag at Yankee Stadium. Like we were looking down on Old Glory. We were far enough away from any kind of railing, but I buckle in. I don't move. Like even if Aaron Judge hits a 6,000-foot home run, I will yell and cheer in my little area because I am terrified of something like that happening.
Yeah, I was saying to a friend how I'm amazed more people don't fall down steps just walking to their seat at Major League stadiums. That's going to make me sound like such an old man, but they're so steep and the steps are so narrow.
And they're narrow, exactly. You got to be careful. And you throw alcohol in there, 1 or 2, it's whatever. That's a legitimate concern. I've seen. I remember the netting behind home plate. I've seen someone fall onto that before, but I think they were going for a ball.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And I've seen people fall, home run area. I've seen people fall down, and those are still pretty high drops. But this dude in Pittsburgh fell, I think it was 20 plus feet.
Yeah,
that's higher than Mick Foley off the cage in Pittsburgh.
And fell directly onto his back.
Yeah. Oh, the flipping. I don't know what he landed on. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I didn't
he
want to
fractured
slow mo
his
and
skull
zoom
from
in.
what I'd read.
Um, ugh.
Yeah.
Beyond that, enough of that. Pittsburgh themselves, your pick to win the Central. They're hovering around the worst record in the National League. You know who actually he garnered some surprise out in Chicago? This character named Pete Crow Armstrong, rather. Pete Crow Armstrong. If you look, I do not take credit for this picture. I saw it on the World of Face. First 33 games played in the majors. In 2024, Shohei Ohtani hit 7 home runs and stole 7 bases. PCA hit 8 home runs and stole 12 bases. Now, this goes back to the September call-up last year. But he's up to, statistically, I want to say 9 home runs now, so I will. He's tied for second in the National League. He's third in steals with 12. So he's got 9 home runs, 12 stolen bases. There's only 3 more outfielders in the National League that have more runs batted in, and 2 of them are his teammates. He bet on himself. The Cubs offered him a $75 million deal. They traded Javier Baez to the Mets. They got this. He was a Mets first-round pick, and they offered him $75 million, and he said no. And now he's starting to look pretty smart now. I don't know. Have you heard any rumblings about this Pete Crow Armstrong guy? I hadn't.
I've just heard like little bits and pieces of like what I have like the ESPN shows on in the morning. But yeah, I haven't paid much attention to Chicago, and I hadn't really looked at the league leaders, but
I know Chicago's doing well. I mean, I worry about them because I picked them to win the Central, and they're right there. This is one of the reasons they got this insane outfield with him and Kyle Tucker and Suzuki.
But more than anything, you just love it when a guy bets on himself like this and it pays off. You know, you just like to see that kind of like confidence rewarded. Yeah. And what you assume is the hard work behind the confidence.
Yeah. I like the fact that he was the number 1 pick of the Mets, and now he's playing for the Cubs. Yes. I think that's nice. If you look at standing wise, right now the Cubs are 21-13. They've got as sizable a lead in the National League as there is with 3 games. If you look, we talked about Pete Cota before, and what's amazing to me, they have the Cubs winning 95. Out in the NL West, the NL West is still a dogfight. They have 3 teams that have 20 wins. Picota says that the Dodgers are going to win this division by 16 games.
Still. They
have a 1.5 game lead on the Padres, who got really good news. Fernando Tatis got hit on the forearm, and he left, I think it was Friday's game against Pittsburgh. But he came back and he scored the game-winning run yesterday as the Padres knocked off the Pirates 2-1. So injury-wise, I mean, the Padres got a breath of whew. The Angels are. Mike Trout is hurt again. Did you see that?
I did.
Not great news if you're a fan of big time names.
I would like to see him stay healthy just to see what he could do over a full season still.
Seriously, and it's a bruise on his knee, and I don't know off the top of my head how old Trout is. How old are you, Mike Trout? 30. He's 33.
33.
At 33, I mean, I remember what it was like to be 40 or 33, long time ago. If I caught something on the knee, it takes a minute to get back.
And I'll give you a little peek at what it's like for anyone who's watching this who hasn't gotten to their mid-40s. 2 Saturdays ago, I was in my kitchen. I was going to get ice cubes out of my freezer to put in my little water thing here. And a thing of frozen chicken breasts fell out of the freezer. So like 3 pounds frozen solid dropping, whatever that is, 2.5 feet from the 3 feet from the freezer, 4 feet, I guess, from the freezer to the floor.
I don't know what your fridge looks like, so.
Well, I guess the freezer's about as tall as I am, so like the fridge is probably 6.5 feet.
You're a pretty big guy, man.
Yeah, so we'll say it fell 6 feet to the floor, right onto my big toe.
Ooh, that hurts anybody. I don't care how old you are.
I'm still recovering. I'm day-to-day. Chicken-related bone bruise.
So like LeBron didn't disclose his MCL. You didn't disclose this injury before we went live.
Right, I
pushing
didn't want
through,
anyone to
though.
think if I was subpar, I didn't want them to think it was due to the toe.
That is exactly right. If you can hear any banging right now coming from my in-home studio, my daughter is doing cartwheels right now, I think, and that's fine. She is not hurt, and I would rather me get hurt besides her. Other injuries that are hitting at least our teams. The Yankees got some bad news with second baseman Jazz Chisholm, oblique injury, and the doctor said 4 to 6 weeks. So I mean, we're looking at June right now for him to come back. He wasn't hitting all that well. He was hitting sub 200, even though he had 6 home runs. I like what Aaron Judge is doing. I mean, who doesn't? He's hitting over 400 still, which is incredible. And he hasn't lost too much power. He's not, he doesn't have 15 home runs right now, but he's putting the ball in play and he's hitting the ball hard. And I think Jazz wasn't doing that. Jazz had a little bit of pop, but I don't know. I don't know where the Yankees called somebody up from the minors right now to take over at second.
Did I see Volpe got injured yesterday?
Volpe, yes, I was going to say yesterday. Volpe was stretching out for a ground ball, and he aggravated something in his left shoulder. I think he's dated. I don't know if he's playing today or not. But that's just when both starters of your middle infield go down. That's tough. We'll see what happens with them. And Boston got some bad news with Walker Buehler. If you saw that, his shoulder. But Cora feels good. Said he's only going to miss 2 starts. So, fingers crossed for Buehler.
But Tristan Casas, he's done.
I saw that.
The left knee.
You think he's done for the year? Is that what they said?
Yeah, it was a patellar tear, I want to say.
Wow.
It was the left knee, and they said right away he's done for the year.
There's a guy I saw in the running for Rookie of the Year back in 23. He hadn't been playing. He's like the Jazz Chisholm of Boston. He wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire. Right.
But I don't know. Like the potential was there for a breakout, I felt like. And more so, it just leaves you wondering what Boston's going to do to replace him. Because, I've seen some things where they're talking about, what if you try to move Devers over to first? Because, Devers...
Yeah, does he have first base experience?
He does not.
No, it's very easy to play first base, right, Coach?
It's incredibly hard.
Incredibly different. I love that. You had a guy named that was. Did I get the right guy? No, I didn't. I'm dumb. Like Ty France, but he's a twin. You had Romy Gonzalez playing first yesterday.
Yeah. Romy Gonzalez was playing first yesterday. I don't know, if they're going to make a move, if they're going to call someone up for depth there. I don't know. It doesn't sound like Cora is eager to move Devers to first, and I don't know if Devers is even open to it. So,
Or yesterday, give him a shot.
Right.
Sixth in the lineup. I mean,
I was optimistic when because Connor Wong had been out with the broken pinky, and when he came back, I was like, all right, so now Boston's getting healthy, and then Casas, running to first, and he takes that awkward step and goes down, and it looked ugly from the moment it happened. It was just one of those awkward, kind of bang bang plays at first.
And Dobbins, is it Hunter Dobbins? Hunter Dobbins did the spot start for Buehler yesterday against Minnesota. And number-wise, numbers in Fenway, pitched into the 6th inning, gave up 4 runs. That's not good, but it's not bad. You got to call that average. Yeah, for a game in Fenway, you can't feel bad about that. I don't think.
Yeah, he just didn't get run support. Boston couldn't put anything on the board. They scratched one out late, but it was 4-1, 4-2 for a big chunk of the afternoon.
Yeah, they got their 2 runs in the seventh. They had a lead. It was 1-1. The sixth inning is when things kind of fell apart for Dobbins. And that like the third time through a lineup, maybe
Yeah.
that the offense adjusts and you don't. And that's where, in today's game, if you get 4 innings out of your starter, sometimes that's what people go to. Yesterday, I watched the Yankee game on MLB Network, and I was, why is Ryan Yarbrough starting? But they had to scratch. Who was I forget who their starter was supposed. Schmidt. Clark Schmidt was supposed to start yesterday. I didn't hear about what happened to him, but I figured, well, they're going to go to a bullpen game. Yarbrough started and gave them 4 innings. This was a guy who, the first game of the year, I think he gave up 17 runs. He was terrible. He went out and he pitched really well in a spot start situation, but Mark Leiter Jr., oh my gosh. I don't know how you give him any leverage situations anymore out of the bullpen. And I know Devin Williams has had his struggles, and you have to kind of work around that. Mark Leiter has just been a disappointment this year. Like, he's almost like the human white flag now. But you were winning a game. You were winning a game 2-1, and he comes in, and he couldn't get it out.
It's like how they used to call Chuck Nevitt the human victory cigar. Like when your team was winning, you put him in for garbage time. What's the opposite of a human victory cigar? like you said, like the white flags.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And number wise, if I'm just looking at him right now, maybe I'm just being unfair because he's got an ERA under 4, but his WHIP is 1-2. The last couple games he's played, 2 hits in 1 inning, 2 hits against Baltimore. Toronto, he struck out the side. Good for him. Against Cleveland, 3 hits and a run. Against Toronto, a hit and a walk. I mean, that's.
And yet, here we are, beginning of May, and we're talking about the 2 top teams in the East at the moment.
Exactly. And Pacoda has the Yankees winning the division again. And Boston, who had been in last place for this computer standings for a long time, they have you bumped up to third now, 82 and 80. A 1.3 games behind Toronto, which is kind of right there with you. This is as tough a division top to bottom because the Orioles in last place are 5.5 games out of first place. The other last place teams, like Colorado notwithstanding, are either 7, 8, or 9. So the East, I think, is we said it was going to be tough all year. I don't think we're wrong. So.
Do you feel from what you've seen a month in, does it feel, we've talked a lot in basketball about how the West, there's such an imbalance where the West is so heavily just better than the East. Do you feel like the National League is heavily better than the American League?
Yeah. I mean.
Between the NL West and the Mets and the Cubs with their hot start?
I don't watch too much National League baseball. Most of the National League stuff that I see, I just look at the standings. And up until the Mets' most recent series, who did the Mets just play? The Diamondbacks came in and took 2 or 3 in New York. The Mets were 13-1 at home. Like, they couldn't lose. And if you look at some of the home records, I mean, like the Dodgers they're 15-3 at home. The Padres 14-4 at home. And then you go to the American League and like the Yankees are 11-6 at home. And the Red Sox are 9-7 at home. The Tigers are the best team in the American League. I mean, after the start they had, it's kind of surprising. They were 8-2 in their last 10 before they lost yesterday. The Mariners are 8-2 in their last 10. They're on a 6-game tear.
I think the Mariners were my pick to win the West.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I
was just trying to redeem myself from that Pittsburgh pick to win the Central.
And I had Texas, who were 2 games under 500. So, what do I know? I had Baltimore winning the East. They're in last place.
I like Colorado to win the West. White Sox, AL Central, shock the world.
Look at Colorado. The most famous person coming out of Colorado?
In general or
recently?
Oh,
This guy from
are we meeting our requirement to talk about the NFL now? I see.
yeah, we don't
Let
want to
me
get
put my
fined
glasses
here.
on.
So back in the 1990s, Tim, you're gonna remember this. There was a comedy group called the Jerky Boys that they got the kids buzzing, and their shtick, for those of you who are too young to know what we're talking about, what they would do is they would prank call people, and they would record it, and they made a CD, and it was funny. I mean, I was very easily entertained back in the 90s, but apparently Shedeur Sanders was not the only person who got prank called. I don't know if you saw this, but Ashton Genty, who was drafted by the Raiders, came out and said he was called and said he had got traded to the Cowboys. The Eagles drafted Kyle McCord, and Kyle McCord had mentioned that he had gotten a dozen or so phone calls before, like he wasn't even going to pick up the Eagles' actual phone call. The list that I saw: Colts tight end Tyler Warren, Giants defensive end Abdul Carter, Commanders offensive lineman Josh Connerly, Browns defensive tackle Mason Graham, and Bills offensive lineman Chase Lunt. But the most notorious one was Shedeur Sanders, because the NFL discovered who did it, and they came down on them. Did you see that penalty? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, what was it? $250,000 for the team, and then it was the defensive coordinator's son. Was it 100,000 or 75,000 for the?
Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, gets fined $100,000 for failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information.
Which, we can laugh about it in this case, but what if it had been about like medical information?
Oh, no, that's incredibly serious. But
surgical, a player who's having surgery, and now you have access to this, and you sell that information to the media, or whatever it is.
Imagine you I don't know what this kid is, 21, 22. 21-year-old Tim having Greg Hare fined $100,000 because you called and said hi to Henry.
Look, we can all sympathize with the impulse to make a prank call or two. In my time, there may have been a circumstance where I picked up a phone and dialed a few numbers and may have said some stupid stuff to the person on the other line. That's neither here nor there.
Wrong numbers on purpose.
What's that?
I used to call wrong numbers on purpose.
I mean, we used to call radio
stations. I was bored at home and I wanted to talk to somebody, so I'd call up. So where we grew up, like the first three numbers were either 455, 454. So I would type in bing bing bing, and I just four random numbers. I'm like, "Hi, is Joe there?" No, I think you're the wrong number. Oh, I'm so sorry. Is this? And I would repeat the number, and they're like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, that's the number Joe gave me. I hope you have a good day. I'll sorry." I don't know. I was kind of like, just because Joe is such a popular name, like what's going to happen if they say, "Yeah, hold on for a second." I'm like, I'm going to talk to Joe. What am I going to talk about? I was excited.
So what we would call like product lines, like on like product, like they have the 800 customer service line on like whatever product. We would call those. We would call radio stations.
I'm looking right now at my generic Tums questions. We can give them a call right now if you want.
Should we call Tums?
It's an 800 number. I don't know how, I don't know if this is good for content, but sure, why not? We got one.
Call Tums and ask if Shedeur Sanders is there.
2 7. Can you hear it?
Yeah. See if they're a sports fan.
Yeah. Do you offer sports advice? We're looking to see who's going to win Game 7 tonight between Golden State and Houston.
No, we are pharmaceutical company, nothing to do with sports.
Oh, I was given this number by my friend Tim, so I'm really sorry. You have a good day.
Take care. Bye.
That was poorly planned and poorly executed, but
didn't hesitate to snitch me out. I see.
It was like, we're a pharmaceutical company. We don't have anything to do with sports. I am not a jerky boy at all. So, but that $100,000, I can't imagine. I would get
I would
really
be very
hammered by
curious.
my father would be very angry. We'll put it
Yeah,
that
I'd
way.
be very curious what the father-son relationship, like what kind of punishment there is going to be at home.
I can only imagine. But we're going to keep pushing down the NFL. Last night, I was sitting watching Full House with Maria because she's into that now, and I got onto the phone and I went to the old ChatGPT app, and I got that.
So wait, I'm the good guy in this scenario.
I just
advocating
asked
for soup.
The prompt was, I need an image of He-Man and Skeletor arguing over what's better, soup or meatballs. I didn't say, I said He-Man and Skeletor and soup and meatballs, so that's probably how they put it together. But there you go. And I also have a live action. I didn't put the live action one in the PowerPoint, though, so I got to see if I have it here for you. You are actually on your phone right now, so I won't text it to you. I'll try to get, it's really poor, I think. Can you see that in my little screen? If I get myself, get myself bigger here. There it is.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like it's kind of cheesy, but there it is. That's the live action version. You know what though? AI does a really interesting job with some of the stuff that we provided, and we're going to do some AI stuff a little bit later. But you had something you wanted to do with the NFL. What are we doing here?
So I was interested when I was watching the draft. I asked AI to do a revisionist draft of every player who was drafted in the 90s. And I wanted to do a 90s redraft. So I gave the Houston Texans, since they didn't exist in the 90s, the number 1 overall pick. And then I asked ChatGPT to do the worst record of the 90s, whatever franchise, to have the 2nd pick, and then the next worst 3rd pick, and so on.
What number did the Bears get?
The Bears picked 7th.
7th? Wow.
So I'll tell you
what? They're redrafting the whole 90s. They're going to get a good player at least.
So I'll tell you, the top 10 was Texans 1, Bengals 2, Saints 3, Jets 4, Cardinals 5, Seahawks 6, Bears 7, Falcons 8, Colts 9, Bucks 10. And my question to you is, would you care to guess who ChatGPT had of players drafted in the 90s going in the top 10?
I think Peyton Manning has to be number 1.
Peyton Manning was the number 1 overall pick.
And I'll tell you, I bet you, did ChatGPT put Tom Brady too?
No, he was drafted in the 2000s.
Oh! I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, because he was on that team that beat Alabama in the Orange Bowl.
That's right.
The David Terrell.
I remember Peyton Manning was up for like the 97 Heisman. So
right, Manning was the 98 draft with Ryan Leaf.
Okay, then this is going to be tough. The entire 90s, like, where was Warren Sapp picked?
Funny enough, Warren Sapp went number 7 to the Chicago Bears.
Oh, you know what? I'll take Warren Sapp. That's not bad. How about Randy Moss?
Moss went 2 to the Bengals. And it's funny because ChatGPT at first did not include him. And I was like, where's Randy Moss? And they were like, of course. How could we overlook one of the great all-time receivers? So then they were like, when we consider Randy Moss, and they made him number 2. And I was like, all right.
That's the thing.
Still a couple bugs to be worked out here.
Well, side story, I'm working on designing a football game, and I tried to make a schedule. Right, I'm going to give you like the hand thing. AFC, NFC. I want this team to play home games and road games against the 4 teams in their division. Yeah. I want 2 home and 2 road in the other division. Week 1, Chicago is playing at home against Detroit, on the road against Green Bay, and on the road against New York in week 1.
Yeah.
And I had a whole argument with ChatGPT about how you only play 1 game a week. I've said this. Then we went back and forth. So, yeah, for them to forget Randy Moss, I can believe that. How about Orlando Pace?
He went 4th. You know, the Jets always take a lineman. So Pace went to the Jets.
Amazing. Yeah, of course they're going to take a lineman. So I got quarterback. I got offensive lineman. I think for some reason Warren Sapp was the best defensive player I could think of. I'm sure there was another one that's where did Woodson go?
Not in the top 10.
He didn't go in the top 10. Okay.
Not in the top 15.
And this is the entire 90s now we're talking, though. So, I don't know. Who went third?
Third to the Saints was Marshall Faulk from San Diego State.
Oh, okay. I'm sure Mel Kiper didn't like that pick.
Then we had Pace going fourth. And then at 5, the Cardinals took another tackle. They took Jonathan Ogden.
Okay. I was kind of wondering where Joe Thomas was picked, but I think he might have been a 2000s pick.
He was a 2000s pick because the Browns 2.0, their first pick was Tim Couch in 99.
Okay.
So Joe Thomas would have been after that.
I don't think Tim Couch made your top 15.
He did not.
No.
With the 6th pick, the Seahawks take out of Florida State someone who's been obliquely referenced, Mr. Deion Sanders.
Drafted in 90.
Yes.
Or 90. Okay.
Then Sapp was 7th to the Bears. 8th. Funny how this works out. Favre went to the Falcons again.
There you go.
We drafted him in real life. The Colts at 9 took Larry Allen.
That's a good pick.
And then the Bucks at 10 took Junior Seau.
Probably a good pick.
And then I'll tell you, 11 through 15, it was Washington, New England, the Rams, the Chargers, and the Browns. And they took in order Walter Jones at tackle, Derek Brooks at linebacker, Marvin Harrison at receiver, Tony Gonzalez at tight end. And then falling to the 15th pick, T.O. out of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
There you go. Where did the Eagles pick in this? Did you get to them or?
They did. They were in the teens. I forget who they picked. I only had space to write down the top 15 because it's on my phone. But
Mike Mamula from Boston College.
Monster on the bench press. Just a Viking at the 3-cone drill.
What do you
total bulldozer?
Where would you play He-Man? Is he All-American quarterback or
Well, I'd need more biography. Like, is he like height and weight? I'd like to know his height and weight.
I don't know. Okay, so let's see if that's a very interesting question. I don't know if He-Man height weight.
Because I understand he has next level strength, but I want him to see over the line.
Man is typically portrayed as being 6'11", weighing 320 pounds.
Okay, so he's got good size.
Left tackle.
No, but what's his speed? What kind of speed does he have?
Well, that's a ChatGPT question, I think.
Yeah.
How fast can He-Man run the 40-yard dash?
And what's his vertical?
It's not officially documented. I know that. Fortunately, Eternia doesn't participate in the NFL Combine, but we can have a fun estimate. So without Battle Cat pacing him, He-Man unofficially, they're calling it 3.4 to 3.6 seconds. That's incredible.
Elite speed.
No. This is universally unheard of speed. Fullback.
And did we get an answer on the vertical?
Does it matter? I mean, what do you think his vertical jump is? Oh, He-Man's vertical. Let's break it down. And they go real world context, He-Man context, reasonable estimate. He-Man could easily have a vertical jump of 60 to 70 inches standing straight up. If we're grounding it a bit for Earth-like standings, because again, we don't know what kind of gravity Eternia has. They're calling it 65 inches with his power boost. Oh, do you want mock combine profile? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So now we're talking. Position, they're calling him a strong safety linebacker hybrid.
Waist.
His college, Castle Grayskull Institute of Power. His measurables.
What's their mascot?
The Skulls, I think. I don't know. Or no, the Ancients, I think they were called.
Okay.
People who like in the basement who gave He-Man his power.
Yeah.
So the measurables, his 40-yard dash, they're calling 3.53. vertical jump 65 inches, broad jump 13 feet 2 inches, bench press 225. I don't buy this for a second. They're calling it 53 reps. I think he got bored. I think he could easily push 225 200 times, but he got bored. The 3-cone drill, they gave him 6.18 seconds. The shuttle, the 20-yard shuttle, 3.82 seconds. He has 11.5-inch hands and an 82-inch wingspan.
So I think I Travis Hunter this situation, but I make him a quarterback middle linebacker, which you don't even see in high school usually. But forget this strong safety nonsense. I'm wasting 3.3 speed on a strong safety. Get out of here.
This is just so funny to me.
Dude,
we did not plan on doing
with a
this.
70-inch vertical, and we're going to put him in the dime package.
So they say the NFL comparison, and I love this because I'm a Bears fan. They said it's Brian Urlacher meets Captain America with a little bit of Hulk juice. I remember Brian Urlacher coming out of New Mexico State because they played tight end too. That's a good, if we had to call it like a real life human comp, that's good.
Because he was a safety.
They then asked, do I want one for Skeletor? Like, of course. So here's Skeletor as an edge rusher, a 3-4 outside linebacker. They're calling him 6'3", 235 from Snake Mountain Academy.
I didn't realize the height difference between him and He-Man.
It's considerable.
8 inches difference
in the
like 100 pounds.
In the toys, there was no difference.
Yeah, this is eye-opening.
His 40-yard dash is significantly worse, 4.29. 48-inch vertical, 12-foot broad. He only bench pressed 2.25, 39 times. For a skeleton, though, with random muscles, that's pretty good.
But for an edge rusher in the NFL?
Hand size 10 and a quarter inches, wingspan 79 inches. So his wingspan is pretty comparable to He-Man's.
His wingspan is, you said 79. He has a 6'7" wingspan on a 6'3" frame. That's outstanding. I love how we're like applying real world thought to this. Like we're like, no, he just jumped into the top 5.
That's what we.
He just made an extra $2 million on his rookie contract.
He-Man is the number 1 pick. Skeletor projected draft grade top 5. If you are okay with a high risk, high chaos culture fit.
Yeah, he's going to be a locker room problem.
The NFL comparison is Micah Parsons meets Loki with a little bit more unhinged and a little bit more theatrical.
That feels vaguely racist. That the villain, he's a black guy, but the blonde-haired white guy
is a clubhouse problem. I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think Micah Parsons is a clubhouse problem.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, maybe I jumped the gun.
I don't know much about Mike. You know what I know about Micah Parsons? Legitimately, he scored 6 touchdowns against Chambersburg when he was in high school. We couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I know. I hate playing him twice a year.
He was a big dude, man.
Yeah, he was a problem in high school. He was a problem in college, and he's still a problem.
Yeah, he's still a problem. So now we're gonna call him Skeletor.
Yeah, we're still currently trying to solve that problem.
I love it. That was cool. And ChatGPT does some cool stuff.
I love how ChatGPT is like what's going to people are like, oh, it's going to help us colonize Mars, and we're here like, tell us about He-Man's measurables at the combine. No, not a strong safety.
No.
Skill position only, ChatGPT.
How are you putting He-Man anywhere except for quarterback? Because he's like the leader of the world. But with those measurables, putting him at fullback and running a power option, that just gets me like excited in my chest.
He sounds a bit like Terrell Pryor. 6'6", 230. Except He-Man was what, 6'11", 350. But
yeah, 320 I think they gave him.
Oh, but I didn't mean to be ridiculous.
Let's not be ridiculous. Yeah, that's amazing. Good stuff there. I have a couple quick hitters, and I got a new one that that just hit my social media today that I think is apropos for what we're talking about, especially with Micah Parsons. But we're going to lead off here in baseball. Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers hit 2 home runs in the 9th inning. That's right, 1 inning, 2 home runs. And when he was asked about it, he said, "It's pretty cool, man, but we've got to show up tomorrow and try to win another game." So, Tim, tell us what he actually feels like and not give us the Crash Davis soundbite.
He doesn't feel like talking to reporters at all. He wants to go in the clubhouse and mess around with the boys.
Works for me.
He wants to drink some beers and just bust some chops.
Runs in 1 inning, amazing. All right, number 2. Michigan State Athletic Director Alan Haller is out after nearly 5 years, and now Deputy Athletic Director Jennifer Smith, along with Tom Izzo, are going to serve as co-interim ADs as they search for the replacement in East Lansing. Tim, Pops left the bench. Is this like the first step for Izzo to possibly leave the bench as well?
I think when Izzo leaves the bench, he's going to do a Krzyzewski, where he's going to hand it off clean and just sort of be the professor emeritus of basketball on campus, where he'll be there as needed, but not in an official capacity.
Not doing work. That works for me. All right, number 3. I saw this post online, if you want to check it out on your screen, citing Andy Staples' top 25 going into college football season. This was dated April 28th. The Big Ten teams he has in his top 25, Ohio at 5, Penn State at 4. Yep, that tracks. Illinois at 9, though. Coming in, they had a pretty good season last year. I looked at them. They've got a tough 5-week stretch where they go to Indiana, host USC, then they get Purdue. They should be a pushover. Then they host Ohio before their trip to Washington. But then you see the maize and blue at 17. Tim, how do you feel about Michigan at 17 in April?
I'm fine with it in April. We'll see where everything stands in August. I'm a little surprised by how bullish they are on Illinois, though.
Illinois was 10-3 last year. I was at first, and then I went and looked. I mean, I follow the Big Ten East as much as I follow the National League. Yeah. They had a good year. I don't know who they have coming back or who they hit in the portal, but it's cool to see the Big Ten represented as well as they are. I love this. I hate when Michigan's in the top 5 in the preseason because, like, if you look right now, if you're Texas, there's only one way to go.
When you think about when Michigan won at 97, I think they started 13th in the AP.
I think they were 16.
Yeah,
but so 17, I'm okay with. I saw rankings that Bryce Underwood is the 10th best quarterback in the conference already. I mean, he hasn't taken a snap, and he's at. I'll take that too.
I am very excited to see what he does.
Yeah, same here. I hope they put something around him. And everything out of spring says that the offense should be exciting to watch. So we shall see. Number 4. Tim, do you know who Mr. Beast is?
Yeah, like a content creator, online
YouTuber guy. Yeah, gives out money to people. So I saw this video, and I'm very interested to see how you would approach this. Mr. Beast is going to offer you $10 million, but in order to win, only you have to eat $1,000 worth of McDonald's food in 24 hours. How are you going about trying this?
$1,000.
$1,000 worth of McDonald's food in 24 hours. I'm not sure I could do that in a week, but you got a day.
Boy, I don't know. That's tough for me. That's a lot of sodium. But for $10 million, I don't know that a human being could do that.
And the way the guy
$1,000 worth of McDonald's food.
The way the guy explained it, this is actually almost doable if you combo the chicken nuggets, hash browns with the small drink. As long as you're not getting free refills, the small drink and the large drink both cost $1.49.
I was trying to think of some loophole with soda. Or like, yeah.
A lot of soda. But, I mean, I don't know if you could do it. It'd be interesting to try, though.
Because the initial impulse when you hear McDonald's is to think, like, oh, you'll eat. Like once you have even, like, 3 or 4 hamburgers, you're done for.
Oh, yeah, you're. And a hamburger at McDonald's costs like $2.
And it's so greasy that, ugh.
You go plain, but you got to eat the bun too, and that's where you fill up. That's where the Coop used to get you on the pig burger challenge.
Yeah,
It used to be a bun, but then they changed it to half a loaf of Italian bread, and they said you got to eat the fries too.
I would want to look at a McDonald's menu to put together a plan of attack, but off the top of my head, I don't think I could do it.
I don't think I could either. But here, last one, bonus one for you here from my phone. I just popped this down. I didn't realize that Abdul Carter he reached out to Lawrence Taylor. We talked about that last week, but he also reached out to Phil Simms to try to get his 11,
number 11, yeah,
Penn State. And earlier this week, Simms said he would actually be honored if Carter wore number 11, but his family disagreed, so he's not going to wear 11. Do you think Abdul Carter is going to have a number next year?
I think he should just go in some sort of like geometric shape, maybe like the hieroglyphics from Lost, like when the clock starts to roll over in the hatch. Like he should just go out there with like the silhouette of a crow.
They could call him the Crow Carter. That seems more like Eagles stuff. You could have like the loudspeaker, like blast crow sounds when he gets a sack.
There you go.
I'm trying to forward think for the guy because he's not going to have a number at this rate.
No, but he's lucky that he has a lot. He's not like an offensive lineman. He has some options.
He can have almost any number he wants.
Yeah.
Maybe if the Giants don't have a 0, that's like the next cool number.
He could combine them. He could pick like 15 to take like 1 from 11 and 5 from 56.
And who's Tommy DeVito going to be?
Tommy.
I don't know.
16? I don't know. He could be 16.
Tommy DeVito. He's not. I mean, they have 2 guys playing quarterback now, so and whatever Jackson Dart's going to be. But good stuff. Draft time today, and we're going back to AI. We're going to need some help so ChatGPT. I don't know what it's thinking because right now I have all this He-Man stuff. I'm actually going to start new. So all right, here we go. A couple weeks ago, I thought it would be kind of cool if I asked ChatGPT, who do you consider to be the best player at each position? And then our goal was going to be, we're going to draft a team to play against them. I don't think we're going to win, but I think if either one of us drafts a team that can pick up a win, I think that'd be something else.
Yes, and admittedly, we're behind the 8 ball because ChatGPT got the first pick at each of the 5 positions.
I mean, we're behind 5 8 balls.
Yes.
So, you know the drill. We have our famous American documents, and we're gonna cut the light here so that we can actually see better. So we need a number and a color.
I'm gonna go 6 red.
2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes number 6. You don't get it this time. It's the 7 of clubs, which we will get some light here now. It is the Lee Resolution of 1776. This resolution, named for Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, who proposed to Congress the formal assertion passed by the Second Continental Congress declaring the establishment of a new country of the United Colonies independent from the British Empire. How about that?
Not our most captivating historical document. Didn't we get the Magna Carta a couple weeks ago?
I'll be honest, I don't know. But, I mean, it's good enough to give me the top pick in the draft. And so, first of all, let's tell who is on the AI team.
Right.
Because I need to write this down.
It was Kareem was the center.
Well, let's just so the point guard was Magic. So Magic Johnson. Michael Jordan was their 2 guard. They had LeBron James at the 3. You're right about Kareem playing the center. And who was their
4?
Who was and Tim Duncan was their power forward. Duncan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So we're going to write the prompt here. Simulate a 7-game series between 2 basketball teams. The blue team consists of, and I will put my team there. The red team consists of, okay. And now we're going to say simulate a 7-game series between 2 basketball teams. The green team consists of, and I'll put your team. You'll be green, I'll be blue, and then the best of all time will be red.
Okay.
So my first pick, I'm going to take somebody who is arguably the not the equal, but almost equal to Michael Jordan. I'm going to take Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go if I got the first pick, just because it's such a no-brainer. Like, if you're trying to negate who we both believe is the greatest player of all time,
that's a good place to start.
Kobe's the best way to make a dent. So that's just common sense.
I feel good about like my common sense pick worked. Like, dude, how did you go Scott Skiles 1? It's gonna go crazy in the second half. Just watch.
So I'm going to go a different direction where I'm going to address
strategy. I'm interested to hear this.
I'm going to address the Magic Johnson problem where you wonder about. I'm taking Steph Curry.
Okay.
And you wonder about, like, obviously Magic's a matchup problem. 6'8", 6'9" point guard. That was his whole deal. That he is going to be a problem for Steph, who's only 6'4". But I like to focus on watching Magic chase Steph through 5 and 6 screens of possession to wear Magic down.
I like that.
Not only worry about Steph hitting those shots, but just Magic's legs wearing down over the course of 48 minutes.
We'll see if ChatGPT follows that logic. I like it. So with my second pick, I'm going to go. Like I just had this discussion last week because during the before the school day starts, we kind of have there's a couple of guys that have a countdown. And it's like tomorrow we have 18 days left before the last day of school. So tomorrow is going to be, who the heck's 18? Masahiro Tanaka was 19. So I have to think of an 18. There was Hideki Kuroda would have been 18 for the Yankees. So Johnny Damon, I think, was 18 for the Yankees too. So on day 21, I went with, myself because 21, but somebody they mentioned this guy and Tim Duncan, and like, man, I wonder how close these guys are statistically. And Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan are pretty close. So I'm gonna combine Kobe and Kevin Garnett. So Kevin Garnett's gonna be my second pick.
Garnett was so I picked 2 players at each position
Just in case.
Right, and Garnett was one of my 2 because I think of him as being not only just one of the best power forwards, but one of the most uniquely talented defenders. That he could defend on the post or on the ball. He's going to give Duncan problems. He's also going to give Duncan problems on the entry pass. He's not going to make it easy for Duncan to get position, and he's not going to make it easy for Duncan to give his point guard a target. So Garnett's a great pick. Now I have to ask a question. Can I take a guy who is traditionally considered as playing one position and play him at another position?
Do what you got to do, man.
So then I'm taking Kawhi Leonard, but as my shooting guard.
So help me out. How do you spell Kawhi?
Kawhi.
Kawhy.
No, Hi.
Hi. Okay, I want to make sure I give the system the best. Like, this is who I'm talking about. So I'll even set at point guard. And you want Kawhi Leonard as your shooting guard?
Yeah, I'm going to try to have him lock down Jordan.
That's so. In terms of how tall is Kawhi Leonard? Like 6'8", 6'7". I mean,
6'8".
That's size-wise, he's there. Muscular-wise, he's got the largest hands, I think,
They call him the Claw.
in NBA history. So I like that pick.
And
I
not
like
only
it a whole
that,
lot.
but depending on what the AI team does, Prime Kawhi could fill it up. Whether he's with the Spurs, his run with the Raptors, he's going to fill up that box score. He's gonna score some points. He's a real bucket.
Yeah.
I like putting him at the 2 and telling him, you just stay on Jordan and you'll get whatever you get offensively.
Yeah. Oh, because we'll try to fill offense around him. Cool. I'm now going back into my prompt and telling it. This is where these people are playing, so it's not. So it's obvious. Like, all right, LeBron James is the small forward, Magic Johnson is the point guard, because I had this thought, especially when it was Magic. My 3 is going to be my attempt to answer Magic. I'm going to take Scottie Pippen and put him at my point guard.
See, I was going to take Pippen with my next pick and put him at my 3 to deal with LeBron.
Oh, geez. Sorry.
No.
I'm not sorry. I'm trying to win here, too. I'm trying to win a game.
Pippen along the same lines as Kawhi. Just good length, good speed, the athleticism. He can run the point, absolutely.
Back to the 91 finals where he shut Magic. The Magic was older, but he was still Magic, and Pippen shut him down.
Yeah, Pippen's a great choice. Because you're going to need some defensive stoppers. So yeah, Pippen's a great one. I have enough at power forward that I can come back to that. And now that you've taken Pippen, I can come back to small forward. But to deal with Kareem, I didn't see Russell myself. I didn't see Wilt myself. I went Shaq.
Yep.
I want Shaq to batter Kareem on the offensive end, make Kareem have to bang around for 48 minutes, and let Kareem try to draw Shaq out, to defend Skyhook. I'm okay with that.
Shaq was my next pick, so you did it to me. I mean, that that pick totally makes sense. And again, kind of the same reason where, all right, Kobe and Shaq on the same dream team, I think would have been interesting if you took into account, locker room mentality. But I have Kobe and Garnett to try to score. I need defense and rebounding now. So Shaq makes a lot of sense. I have my backcourt, so I'm looking front court now, and so I don't think this is a matchup I would necessarily dislike seeing. I think having this guy, I have a point forward already, kind of sort of with Scottie Pippen. I feel bad leaving this guy out, but I'm going to give him to you if you take him. And I'm going to take your guy. I'm going to take Larry Bird to play the small forward.
And yeah, obviously Bird's my favorite.
There's a different small forward I could have taken that may be better, but I don't know.
So obviously Bird's my favorite player of all time.
That's not why I took him, but I think he fits my team concept a little better.
He absolutely does. And plus, I would like to see how Bird, if we're playing under modern rules with the modern spacing and more hands-off defense, I would like to see Bird with that many open looks at threes. I think that would be very interesting. Now I'm going to address this power forward situation. And I'm going to go with, I'm going to try to muscle Tim Duncan, but I'm also going to try to wear Tim Duncan out. Duncan was an elite defender. I'm going to pick a guy who I think is his equal defensively and is better than him offensively. I want Giannis.
Okay.
I'm going to put Giannis at the 4. A defensive player of the year, NBA champion, a 30-point per game guy. I think just as much as Duncan could give Giannis fits, I think Giannis could give Duncan fits.
I am going to go to Google to spell Antetokounmpo.
I think it's Antetkounmpo. Koumtf.
Oh, you missed it. It's Antetoko. You missed an O in there.
Come on, Hair.
But so you have Giannis at your power forward. So now you're looking at you need another. I mean, you could put, theoretically, any lineup you want. You could put Bill Russell at small forward if you want. I need a center though, and I have 3 options in my head because I wrote down Shaq and I wrote down Wilt, but Bill Russell makes a lot of sense. I'm really struggling. I don't want to take this guy, but I think he might actually be the best option. Oh, geez. Do I have scoring? I mean, Kobe and Kevin Garnett can score. Larry Bird can score. I don't need scoring from my 5. I have to figure out how to spell this guy's name because I know I'm going to screw it up.
Is it Olajuwon?
Yeah, I'm going to take Akeem Olajuwon to play. You know what?
It's Olajuwon.
I just copied and pasted. Here we go. Oh, we're going to take Hakeem Olajuwon at center. Because you know what? When I think back to the one-on-one battles, who gave Shaquille O'Neal the most fits offensively and defensively was Hakeem. I think Hakeem could handle the skyhook, and I think he gives Kareem enough to worry about offensively. I think he's a better option than Wilt.
And when you look at a guy, we talk about filling up a box score, a guy who was an elite steals and blocks guy, who also was going to give you points and rebounds, and was a great passer for a big man, which with your lineup is really going to sort of mesh in well. So yeah, I think Olajuwon's a great pick. I'm going pure buckets for my 3. For my small forward, I want Kevin Durant.
Yeah. So Durant was the other option I had at small forward.
Yeah, not an elite defender, but just going to be a 6'11" guy who's going to rain it down from 19 feet and in. He's going to at least make LeBron spend a lot of energy defending him. And he can post LeBron up, so LeBron's going to have to deal with some, trying to muscle him off the block.
Okay. So I'm changing the prompt here a little bit just because of what you said. We're going to say the red team consists of blah, 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 blah. I'm saying use the rules and regulations of the NBA today and play a series where our team gets home court in games 3, 4, and 5. The AI's heavy team, they get home court advantage for games 1, 2, 6, and 7. Okay. So I just have to copy my team in here and let's use commas where necessary. And so that's you. That's my team. Now the green team, starting with Steph Curry at point guard, Kawhi Leonard at shooting guard, Shaquille O'Neal at center, Giannis Antetokounmpo at power forward, Kevin Durant at small forward. Okay, so I drafted first. I'm going to give you the first crack at this team. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
So provide commentary and box scores for each game. Forgot to mention that. So we hit enter. It's going to do its thing. Let's dive into this. Wow. In the green team arena, final score of game 1, green team 117, red team 112. Game 1 was a statement as Steph Curry gets hot early, draining 5 first-half threes. Durant and Giannis feasted in transition, and Shaq punished the red team's interior. Michael Jordan led a fierce fourth quarter rally, but Kawhi clamped down late, forcing 2 turnovers in the last minute. Michael went for 31, LeBron 24. But you were more balanced. Curry had 29, Kevin Durant 26, Shaq 21. So you're up 1-0.
All right. Come on, Town Rocks.
You got to feel good about that. Here comes game 2. Vintage Jordan dropping 39, including 14 in the fourth. Magic pushed the pace, and Duncan quietly dominated the paint as the red team wins 120-116. LeBron goes 23 and 10. Duncan 18 and 11 with 2 blocks. Kareem only with 14 points. I say only. Steph Curry hit for 33. Durant 25. There we go.
I'll take a split.
So now we're going to the red team's arena, where the green team takes a 2-1 lead as Giannis explodes for 34 in a 124-118 matchup or final score. Durant's late dagger 3 ices it. Curry had a quiet shooting night, 16 points, but orchestrated brilliantly. You got Kawhi 13 as your low, but Shaq hit for 22 and 12, Giannis 34, Durant 27, a massive day for your front court. Duncan had a bad game for the red team, 13 was their low. Here we go, game 4. And the red team comes back and ties it 2-2. Duncan and Kareem setting the tone early. Kawhi, a low 12 points. LeBron coast-to-coast dunk in the final minute seals it. Jordan and LeBron took turns guarding Durant, limiting his efficiency. So it's like they're evolving their thing, which is kind of interesting. Jordan goes for 30, and Duncan another double-double, 15 and 12. So the series is now tied with one more game at the green team. Oh, it's saying the red team arena. Oh, they kind of reversed it. They gave you home court. That's fine.
Yeah.
So last game in the red team's home arena, the red team gets a 125-117 win. They're up 3-2. Curry had a massive game for you, 31 points, 6 of them behind the arc. Durant goes for 22. You held Jordan to under 30, got 28. But it says the green team defense couldn't keep up. So there's that. And this is cool, man. Game 6 back in the green team arena. You tied the series. It's 3-3. You're going to 7.
All right.
That's awesome. Winner go home. The green team shows up. Curry and Durant combined for 58. Shaq muscling his way to key putbacks, and LeBron fouled out. So, I mean, I don't know how they managed. Like, we didn't put a bench together.
Right.
So Jordan hit 34, but a contested 3 to tie in the final seconds was missed. So credit Kawhi there. And dude, look at this. An instant classic. Jordan drops 36 in game 7, but Curry hits 11 in the fourth. The green team wins the series 4-3. That's incredible. So
that's how we pick a team.
That is not bad. Jordan nearly carried the red team to a finish, but it wasn't quite enough. Do you want to do postseason awards or MVP voting? MVP voting, I think, has to be Curry.
Curry, yeah.
First place votes, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, Steph Curry got 21 total points. He's your MVP. Shaq came up with 19. Jordan, in a losing effort, got 6 votes. So there we go.
Where you at, LeBron?
Look at that. So now, I mean, dude, the pressure's on me. I was not feeling very. Oh shoot. I was not feeling very confident about this, and now I feel worse. I mean, if I had the first pick in the draft, if I don't compete, this is tough. So let's tip this off. Today's rules, okay, bada bing, bada boom. And yeah, it's bad right away. Red team gets right off the bat, 113-106 over my team. Kobe Bryant hit some tough jumpers. Bird found his rhythm. Pippen playing the point, pressured Magic full court, but the red team's size and pace wore down the blue team late. I don't have the size. I mean, I'm just as big as them. Whatever.
Well, Elijah's a little small for a center because he's only about 6'10", 6'11".
So Kobe went for 31. He led the way. Jordan had 29. LeBron 24. So game 2. Oh, it's ready for game 2. I'm like, it did the whole series for you. I'm like, yeah, simulate the entire series, man. I don't.
Did you type man?
No. This one's legendary. All right. So and again, this gives the red team the home court the entire time because it's game 1 and 2 at their court.
Yeah.
We split. Blue team gets a 112-104 win as Pippen disrupts Magic's rhythm and Kobe and Bird hit big threes. Garnett was everywhere defensively, and we closed on a 13-4 run behind clutch defense and shot making. Kobe goes for 27, Jordan for 26. Now we're back. Now we're home. This is where you got to win. Home cooking for the blue team. Pippen pushing the tempo. Kobe got hot early. We got a 117-101 win as Kobe goes for 33 and Jordan gets held to 24. LeBron, come on, LeBron. 17 points, 6 turnovers in this game. We go overtime in game 4. Instant classic as Jordan and Kobe go shot for shot in an epic duel. But Tim Duncan hits the game-winning or the game-tying bank shot to force overtime, and then Kareem skyhook wins it. The red team overcomes a 9-point deficit with 3:30 left in regulation. We couldn't close it out. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Game 5, the last game on the blue court. The blue team 121, red team 110. The blue team playing with purpose. Pippen played his best game, initiating the offense and guarding Jordan and Magic. Kobe added a dagger 3 with 1:40. Hakeem holds Kareem to just 10 points. And Jordan went for 28, Kobe 29. And, of course, we're going to go 7 here as well. Back in the red team's home court. Woo! Facing elimination, the red team responds like champions. LeBron was the catalyst, going 26 with 9 boards and 9 assists and 8 rebounds. It was Duncan's defense on Garnett that was crucial. The blue team shooting just 9 of 30 from 3. We didn't really set up our team to be 3-point shooters. Using today's NBA, that would make sense to do so. High score of the game was LeBron at 26, Kobe 24. We lost the series. We didn't do it. So game 7 at the red team's home court. It came down to the final possession with the red team up 2. Kobe gets the ball, rose over Jordan, but missed a contested jumper at the buzzer. LeBron's all-around brilliance and Jordan's timely buckets put red just over the edge. Although Kobe was the game high scorer with 32, Jordan hit for 30, LeBron hit for 25. So your finals MVP was Michael Jordan with an average of 28 points per game. This one's going to be debated forever. Kobe versus Jordan delivered fireworks. Pippen's all-around impact was immense. Hakeem outplayed Kareem at times, but Jordan and LeBron's closing ability proved a bit too much.
It's interesting.
I'll tell you what, I didn't think I was going to win a game. So the fact that both of us went 7, I think is amazing. And the fact that you won.
It's interesting how AI doesn't seem to have a very high opinion of LeBron. How he was kind of marginalized in both series, was not in the running for MVP in either series.
No.
And he had his near triple-double in game 6, but he also had the 6 turnover game.
In the blue series, he did get an honorable mention for MVP because he went 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. But that's all it said. It said LeBron's closing ability proved a touch too much.
Yeah, but Jordan was much more prominent in both series.
Yes, and
So I wonder if there's like a generational bias in how the AI was programmed, or if
I don't know.
if that reflects, some version of reality. It's just interesting how that came up with that result.
All I know
Which
is
I agree with, that Jordan would assert himself more than LeBron would.
All I know is there's some kid right now asking ChatGPT to write a paper about engineering thermodynamics, and we just played 2 of the coolest 7-game series ever. I think we're winning AI wise.
Look, we got He-Man's intangibles.
That was so great.
We prank called at Tums to ask them, their take on Warriors Rockets.
Best show we've ever done.
It might be.
And it's not even over yet because we're top 5 time. And as of today shooting this live, if you're watching it later, today is Sunday, May the 4th. So it's National Star Wars Day. Tim, May the 4th be with you.
And also with you. I
saw this question online a few weeks ago, and I was saving it for this show. And it's really an interesting perspective into the movies. The question was, you are casting a Star Wars movie. Who would be the absolute worst match to play the lead Jedi? So this is kind of like a draft, but it's top 5 wise. We can pick the same ones. Who would be the worst current or like I think we went all time actor to portray the lead Jedi in a Star Wars movie? So Tim, I will default to you to lead us off. I don't know if I have these ranked. I do sort of, kind of.
Mine aren't ranked, and the first 2 that came to mind were very similar. So I'll start with the first one, which seemed very obvious. Woody Allen would be a terrible Jedi.
Okay.
But like just a small, bookish, kind of neurotic comedian. He would be a terrible Jedi.
I don't have a lot of Woody Allen experience, but I know what he looks like. He's got those really thick glasses, and he's. And I tried to think, like, when I put my list together, I thought to myself, like, I don't think this guy could, but he's a really, really good actor, so maybe. Like, did anybody look at Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction and say, man, that guy should be a Jedi Knight?
I could see it, though.
But he actually, he was badass, man. He's actually, if you ask people,
the natural intensity.
Yeah. So, Woody Allen just, not at all.
There's no intensity there.
My number 5, and largely I think it's because I'm starting to see a lot of Patch Adams on my TikTok movie list, and it's not who you're thinking. It's the antagonist in that movie, or at least one of them, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think
he could be a cool Jedi.
No, Brant would be terrible.
But he was a really good villain in Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
After the first Mission Impossible, I stopped watching those movies, so I can't.
I have so much respect for his talent. I think he could pull off being a good Jedi.
It'd be question. I'd have a hard time watching him because I'd be seeing Brant.
Like the same way that Alec Guinness was like probably a counterintuitive pick as Obi-Wan in like A New Hope. I think he could be like a good, wise Jedi in the Alec Guinness mold. I disagree with you there.
No, it's not in my head. I have him typecast too much. I wouldn't be able to see past what I know.
My next one is along the lines of Woody Allen in that you just can't see him being intense. It's Don Knotts.
Oh man, look at you going old school. I love it.
Yeah, like you think of like Barney Fife or like Mr. Furley. Like pick like Furley era like Three's Company Don Knotts and put him in like a hooded robe with a lightsaber. I can't picture it.
You know what though? I bet if you told him he had to be serious, he has like a Palpatine-ish face where he could probably make. He fell into comedy. He's definitely a more comedic actor, and you're going to see a lot of that with the rest of my list. I would actually like to see Don Knotts as a Jedi more than I would like to see Philip Seymour Hoffman, though. I don't think he'd do well, but
Can we get AI to create an image of Don Knotts as a Jedi?
I'll ask, but after the the first prompt I gave it last night was, I said, "Can you put He-Man and Skeletor at the table playing the board game Lords of Baseball?" And it did. And I'm like, it wasn't the actual board. Like I thought maybe like AI would go out to Board Game Geek and find out what the game looked like. Like that would have just blew my mind. But it didn't. But they were actually playing a game on a baseball diamond. The box says Lords of Baseball. And then I'm like, well, you know, what else can I do? So I had to do Super Meatball stuff, and I did some other pictures with He-Man and Skeletor. So I ran out of I'm on the free version. I have to wait till 10 o'clock tonight. But that'll be the next thing. Don Knotts is a Jedi, because why not?
I'm on the free version, and I can do that when we're done. I'm going to create Don Knotts as a Jedi.
I wanted to make a picture of me with a Darth Vader helmet to put on the show, and it yelled at me. It's like, you have to wait. So... And some of the other free AI stuff that I see online doesn't let you upload a picture to work with.
Wow.
So my number 4, I'm not even sure I like this guy in regular movies. I've seen some of the movies he's in, and I've been entertained by them, but I don't want to see Owen Wilson as a Jedi.
I've seen videos where they've replaced the lightsaber sound with his wow.
No, like oh my gosh, that'd be so annoying.
Where it's just the lightsabers hitting its wow, 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 wow.
That's bad.
See, and you're right. I do like Owen Wilson in general, but I would be, if I heard that he was cast as a Jedi, I would be incredibly skeptical.
And again, this is more of like what I'm doom scrolling. I see a lot of Wedding Crasher stuff now for whatever reason.
Now, I don't know if you'll be familiar with my number 3.
That's why there's Google.
Have you ever heard of the movie The Room?
The Room. No.
So there was a movie made a couple of years ago called The Disaster Artist about the making of The Room, which is considered to be maybe the worst movie ever made. And the guy who made it is like the modern Ed Wood, like, you know, just like a disaster of a filmmaker. And he starred in this movie. His name is Tommy Wiseau.
I've never heard of Tommy Wiseau. Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau would be a terrible, terrible Jedi.
Now, see, I'm looking at a picture of him from Wikipedia right now. As far as acting goes, I will default to what you say about him because I have no frame of reference. But he looks eerily similar to Adam Driver, who has played an anti-Jedi, I don't know if you consider Kylo Ren a member of the Sith or if he's just a dark sider or whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But he looks like Adam Driver. He could potentially he could be behind not the lead Jedi now, which is what we're picking, but he could be like a sub bad guy if he doesn't talk too much.
You know how it's become like almost like a cliched joke, like where something's not quite right, and it's like, oh, this is the Temu version of this.
Yeah, Wish.com.
Tommy Wiseau is the Temu version of Kylo Ren.
And Kylo Ren is one of my least favorite characters of the whole. I'm a Star Wars geek. I love Star Wars. I got my son into it. He digs it. Kylo Ren is among my least favorite characters of any of the characters. Like he might be below Jar Jar Binks.
See, I like Adam Driver, so I like Kylo Ren.
He's such a whiny brat, and I didn't get my way.
Oh yeah, he's like
destroy everything with my lightsaber. No. Kylo
Ren.
Very
emo. Yeah.
Suck. And speaking of suck, another actor I can't get behind. I just saw this guy in Minecraft, and he was actually pretty decent in Minecraft. I don't want to see Jack Black anywhere near a lightsaber as the lead Jedi. He would be terrible.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for him to be serious, and I think it would be hard for audiences to take him seriously.
School of Rock, I mean, that's fine. That's Jack Black. That's great. Minecraft,
I love that movie, and I love him in it.
Yes. Don't give him a lightsaber and tell him to lead the rebellion, because they will fail.
I've loved him in a lot of things, but I don't want to see him with a lightsaber in his hand. So I will say, along the same lines that Tommy Wiseau is a little bit of an outside-the-box pick, I'm going to go with another outside-the-box pick. Do you remember Elvira, Mistress of the Dark? She was the chesty gal who would...
No. Trust me, 13-year-old Max knows Elvira. Forget about it.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be a great Jedi, though.
Oh,
her whole shtick was like making like undead / sex jokes.
So are you going to go with Elvira, or do you want Cassandra Peterson?
I don't know that she ever appeared on camera as anything other than Elvira.
But that's her name. That's who we would be casting her as. Or so, are you casting Elvira the character? Because Cassandra Peterson right now is 73 years old, and if that's 2011. I was going to say, holy cow! If that's her at 73, oh my goodness.
I'm going to cast Cassandra Peterson, and I'm going to leave it to her interpretation. If she wants to do it as Elvira, or if she wants to create the character whole cloth.
Okay, I mean, not to be ageist, she is 73.
How old was Alec Guinness when he was Obi-Wan? It's not an age thing. It's just outside of what she's known for.
Try not to go down this route, but she is a very good-looking young lady. Even to like today, like that's. You know what?
Also, I don't want this to sound like I don't like Elvira, because
No.
like her shtick, like the whole like B-movie horror movie hostess, I am totally on board with like the campiness of it. I really dig it.
He would do the USA Jedi horror movie. You remember those like 11 o'clock on Friday nights?
Oh yeah.
I forget what they were called. Like there was like USA's answer to HBO and the Crypt Keeper.
Right, and then TNT had their answer to that, where it was Joe Bob Briggs.
I don't remember Joe Bob Briggs. But so some of the movies that USA played, they were so bad.
So bad they were good.
They were. Remember renting Cannibal Campout? Oh my gosh, it's time for lunch.
Do you think the clerks were shocked that someone like paid money to rent that?
It was $1, and I don't know. Or like the Criswell movies that Pasco wanted to see. Throw gold at them. Criswell would be a bad Jedi. I think that my first thought when I saw this picture online, my first thought was this guy who it reminds me of me. He's rather short. He's rather stout. He walks kind of goofy, but you know what? He's a great character actor. He might be able to pull it off. I just don't see it physically. Danny DeVito.
Yeah, and
we'd have to do some creative shooting for him. He was a good Penguin. I didn't like the movie that Tim Burton put together for the second Batman, but Danny DeVito was a good Penguin.
He could be interesting as like a quasi Yoda type Jedi.
Yeah, not the lead Jedi though.
Mm.
I could put him in the background, sure, because he could be like an oddly shaped Jedi, sure.
And that's another case where, like, you talk about loving Danny DeVito, but this is just not the right fit.
Yeah, and that's me. I think Danny DeVito is an joy to watch and a treasure to this world, just not the Star Wars universe.
I'm gonna go with, whenever I'm asked like who would be bad in this role, or like some version of this question, just because this is one of my, I don't want to be overly negative, but just not an actor whose work I respond to. Is that the tactful way to say it? She has been in many movies I enjoy, but she is routinely my least favorite part of those movies, and it would be Andie MacDowell. Oh. I don't want to see Andie MacDowell as a Jedi. I don't want to see I didn't want to see her in Groundhog Day, a great movie that I love that she's just not good in.
Oh, yeah. She looks very much like Julia Louis-Dreyfus to me.
Who I love. And who was great in Thunderbolts, by the way.
I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus would be a bad Jedi too. I can't see Andie MacDowell as a Jedi. No. And it's not I actually have a list of potentially good Jedis here, which I didn't tell you to do, but so it's not a female thing. But yeah, that's not her thing at all.
You know who would be a good Jedi? And you didn't ask me to think of this, but one name that immediately came to mind was Tom Hardy.
No, where do I know Tom Hardy? Was he Bane?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that guy. Yeah. Oh, dude, he looks like John Cena.
Yeah. I think he's very talented. I think he can do a lot of things very well. He would be a wonderful Jedi.
I can see that. Okay. So for me, my number one, I'm going to give you my honorable mentions because there was two of them. These guys are both, the two honorable mentions are two of the best actors I've ever seen. I will watch them and appreciate their talents every time I can. One is Christopher Walken.
Yes.
Can you imagine him running the Jedi Order in Coruscant.
He auditioned for the original Star Wars because he was coming off winning an Oscar for The Deer Hunter.
That wouldn't work. And then 2 would be Joe Pesci.
Yeah, the voice would be distracting.
Yeah, a little bit. So, but my number 1, just based on some of the movies, I enjoy the movies. They are cheesy and campy. But the first thought I had was this movie Snake Eyes, where Nicolas Cage is just getting the absolute tar beaten out of him, and he looks up at Gary Sinise and he's like, "You got snake eyes." Oh God, in Star Wars that kind of cheese just wouldn't work. So Nicolas Cage would be the worst Jedi. Like, if I had to answer that question, who is the worst character? I'm going to go Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I'm not a big Nicolas Cage fan, and I know it's become like trendy in the last like 10 years to like.
I like The Rock. I actually like the movie Snake Eyes. I like Con Air the movie, but it's like despite him sometimes.
I love the movie Raising Arizona. Like there are movies where I really really enjoy him, but he's like cotton candy in human form. Like I don't normally like cotton candy, but if I'm at the circus, I'll eat some cotton candy.
There you go. So I mean, the potential good Jedi that I had, because I was thinking both ways. Though the females that actually wouldn't mind seeing as Jedi, and this is probably because they do X-Men type stuff. I think Halle Berry and Jennifer Lawrence would work.
I think Charlize Theron would be a great Jedi.
Yeah, I would go there. And
just thinking of her from Fury Road.
So when I thought of Nicolas Cage in The Rock, I went to Sean Connery, and Sean Connery did a movie called Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
I think Catherine Zeta-Jones would have been an interesting Jedi. She would have been an interesting bad guy, like lead. Just the black hair look, I think, would have worked for her.
I'll throw 2 more out there. Andrew Garfield, I think, would make an interesting Jedi, just because of like the baby face. He would almost have like a Mark Hamill quality.
There you go.
And I don't know if you know Carrie Coon, the actress Carrie Coon. She was just in White Lotus. She was on Fargo. She was in the TV show The Leftovers.
I did watch Fargo. Who was she in Fargo?
In season 3 of Fargo.
I didn't watch the TV series.
Yeah, she was in the series. But I think she would be a really good Jedi.
There you go. Our top 5 on May the 4th. Best and worst.
May the 4th be with all of us.
Yeah, in Deedly Doodly. So gets us to Mr. Smarty Pants time. And in honor of May the 4th, I have some Star Wars trivia for you.
Okay.
That I think is relatively. I mean, if you're a Star Wars guy, you should know some of these, or at least most of these. Actually, if you don't get all 3 of these, I'll be surprised. So The trivia portion. What is the name of Luke Skywalker's home planet?
He's not on Tatooine. Yeah, he's on Tatooine with the 2 sons.
He was on Tatooine, yes. Yeah, so
I had to think for a second if he was on Tatooine or if he goes with Obi-Wan to Tatooine.
So that is his home planet. In A New Hope, in Star Wars, what is the name of the bar that we first see?
The Cantina?
That's half of it. The Cantina where?
Is it the Mos Eisley Cantina?
There you go, Mos Eisley Cantina. Derek has a Lego set of the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Very cool.
And I think this is the most often asked Star Wars trivia question. Which character has appeared in the most Star Wars films? I think he's been in all of them.
He's been in all of them.
Maybe not all of them. I mean, if like the Rogue One solo spin-offs.
Because my first thought was either Obi-Wan, because he was in the. What's that?
I think every episode he's been in, like episode 1 through 9.
Anakin.
Not Anakin. Anakin was not in 7, 8, or 9.
Oh yeah. Palpatine.
There you
go. Palpatine.
No, Palpatine was not in 7 or 8.
Who is it?
C-3PO.
Oh. That was me being biased against droids.
There you go. That's droid bias. It might not have been the same actor in the suit, but the character C-3PO, I know he was in 1 through 9. I don't know if he was in Rogue One, and I don't think he was in Solo.
Yeah, I don't think he was in Solo because they had the other character that was voiced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
And in Rogue One, the droid they had was like the reprogrammed Empire droid, who was actually, I liked that character. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but that robot was such a smart aleck, and he was like mean, but in a funny way.
Rogue One was really good.
Yeah. I think I rank Rogue One as like number 3 for me. The Empire Strikes Back, as far as Star Wars goes, I think that's a lot of everybody's favorites. I thought Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was great. And primarily because here's a situation you put yourself in where here's Episode 2 and here's Episode 4. Everybody knows where things are going, but you still have to put an entertaining movie around it. Like, all right, after Episode 2, he didn't turn into Darth Vader. He has to turn into Darth Vader in this movie. How do we do it? And it was still an entertaining sequence where you see the mental manipulation that that Anakin is going through with Palpatine. I thought they did a really good job. So Revenge of the Sith, I think, is my second favorite of all of them. But Rogue One might be number 3. That's another tremendous movie. I'm
going to throw a controversial opinion out. I really like Episode 8.
Wow, yeah, that is bad.
I love it.
That's lower half for me. I mean, I fanboyed out for 9, and a lot of people were upset that they retconned a lot of stuff. And
I hated 9 so much.
I was okay with it. The whole part about 8, though, like, listen, just tell the guy the plan. It doesn't have to be there's like 17 people in your rebellion. Maybe everybody should know the plan. Don't make it a big secret purple-haired lady. You know what I mean? Like, that bugged me. Like, you're not.
You dare call Laura Dern purple-haired lady.
You can't be holier than thou when you've got 15 people, trying to overthrow a quadrillion man army with this giant sun laser. Come on.
I just like that Episode 8 did it wasn't reverent toward the franchise. Like, it tried to do things differently, but still in an entertaining way. I really was digging what Episode 8 did.
Yeah, that is controversial, and you are standing on an island by yourself there. I like the non-episodes. Like, Rogue One doesn't really fit in it's not Episode 2 or Episode 3. I thought Solo was okay. I was entertained by Solo. Have you seen the Disney Plus stuff, like the Andor or?
I saw the first season of The Mandalorian, but then I stopped kind of keeping up with the Disney Plus shows.
Derek and I watched the Mandalorian shows. He liked that. Andor, I think, started too slowly for us, and like we stopped watching it. We both really liked the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and especially because it had a lot of the characters he was familiar with, and like Derek loves Darth Vader. Like, he has a Vader helmet. When we went to Disney, he created a red lightsaber, and he met Darth Vader at Disney. He tried to shake his hand, but Vader's like, "I don't touch people." That was neat for him. But the scene at the end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series where they had another lightsaber duel, that was so cool. That really was. But yeah, I could talk Star Wars for hours, and it's cool to me that Derek got into it as much as he did. So
yeah,
later today, I mean, after our show, I don't know, we're gonna probably go watch 2 or 3 different movies. So list time. Let's get you the list here.
Yeah, and also give The Last Jedi another chance.
I'm gonna let him pick whatever he chooses is what we're gonna watch. I don't think he's gonna pick The Last Jedi.
Does he hate it?
I don't think he hates it. And so when we first started watching, we were watching it during the 2020 lockdown, and I made him watch it in like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 order. And I remember, like, you see some of these videos on TikTok, like when the big reveal in Empire happens, like the people's minds are blown. Like, we take for granted that people don't know that that's going to happen. But I remember when Derek first saw that was cool. But when we got through. We were watching the Phantom Menace. We got through the pod racing, which was 32 minutes long. And here we go, like me talking about 3, like we know what's going to happen in the story. We know Anakin's going to win. He has to win because he has to go with the Jedi, unless Qui-Gon's going to just kill this Watto guy.
Right.
So you know he's going to win. The 34 minutes of tension was like watching a Hulk Hogan match. You knew it was going to happen. So let's just get to the payoff.
We just needed Jake Lloyd to be like,
when the Duel of the Fates hit and Darth Maul did the one lightsaber and the second lightsaber hit, Derek was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, you're damn right it is, because it was the coolest thing for me back when I saw it. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a reason I have a toy of Darth Maul, because he's...
I remember when that came out summer of 99 and you were all about Darth Maul.
So awesome, because he was a badass, and he still is, and he deserves his own spin-off series, which they've been teasing, but whatever. But anyway, so like when Derek got through, I said, Derek, you got to get through episode 2. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's not a lot of action here, and he did. I think 2 is probably his least favorite.
My least favorite too. I don't know. 9's pretty bad.
But it would be. 8 might be down there with him though. But there's action in 8 though. It's something for everybody. I think the old school, like Michael Jordan people, look at the original trilogy and they're like, oh gosh, why did they do the prequels? And then the new age kids who just grew up with the Disney portion, like they only know Rey and Finn, so that's okay.
See, there's been enough time from the original trilogy that I have nostalgia for like Phantom Menace and like seeing that in the summer of '99 on opening night.
Let me tell you, aside from the 36-minute pod race, I like Phantom Menace. I do.
Liam Neeson's good in it. Ewan McGregor's good in it. Yeah, there's a lot there.
Absolutely. I have a certain set of skills. I will find this kyber crystal. I will create a lightsaber, and I will kill you. Yeah. So,
still forgetting cut in half.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. So, all right, here we go. Back to Mr. Smarty Pants for you. Earlier this week, I saw this picture. And I thought, this might be a little much for a list. It was whoever in the state of Pennsylvania who had the highest winning percentage for college football teams. I was just really impressed that IUP was second. And when I asked you and I saw your first answer, I immediately realized I screwed up the question. I forgot to add Pennsylvania. So let's try this again because, you're mentally there. Who has the best all-time winning percentage across all the states, and just the top 10 teams in winning percentage, not overall wins. So there's that to take into account based on the information that I saw on Wikipedia.
Okay.
So
and
I
have all divisions.
No, I think it looks like it's just. All right. No, it does have some lower teams in there. It's largely D1.
Okay.
I will say that. I think there. Let me count. 1. I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, I'm not even sure about the 1. So there's definitely 3 that are subdivision 1 that they gave. Okay. But I have the top 25 listed. I'm only going to see if you can give me the top 10.
Alabama.
Alabama comes in at number 2.
USC.
So when you said USC yesterday, that was the question. That was the one that it was like, wait a minute, I forgot Pennsylvania. USC does come in at number 8.
Okay. Wow. I guess they had some down years in like the 80s. Penn State.
Penn State comes in at number 9.
Ohio State.
And that's where, you got to give the devil his due. All right, Ohio State's number 1.
Okay.
They have a 735 winning percentage. 978 wins to 335 losses, 5 of them coming to Michigan in the last 5 years.
How about Oklahoma?
Oklahoma comes in at number 6. You are crushing this.
Florida State.
And as I say that, you dip out of the top 10. Florida State does make the all-time list at 13.
I knew they'd be fringy. Okay, let's see. How about Nebraska?
Nebraska rounds out the top 10 at number 10.
Michigan.
Michigan. There you go. Michigan, the all-time leader in wins. But they've got a couple extra losses in there, so that puts them at number 3 at 733.
How about Notre Dame?
Notre Dame comes in at number 4 at 732, just a tick behind good old Blue.
Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10.
You're missing 5 and 7.
Okay.
These would not be. I mean, this one would not be my first pick. Of all of the teams listed here in the top 10, they have the absolute fewest wins by far. They have 502 all-time wins listed here in 693 games.
Okay, so a fairly recent program. How about BYU?
BYU, which would probably be Brigham Young on this list. Not in the top 25. I don't know where they would fall.
Okay. How about I'm trying to think of like someone who's Division I who doesn't play considered a strong schedule.
I think you're in the right conference with BYU.
Utah?
No, Utah's not on the list. They're not in. They're not in the top 25. I'm not sure where they would fall.
Yeah. I don't know. Who are the last two? I'm curious.
So the Mountain West team with 502 wins is Boise State.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they are, a relatively young team. Number 7 team has bounced around conferences. They're currently in the SEC.
Texas?
Texas is at 704.
I almost said Oregon until you said SEC.
Oregon doesn't make the top 25. So rounding out the rest of the top 25 after Nebraska, Tennessee, Georgia is 12. Appalachian State they have ranked at 14th. They're one of the sub D1 teams. I wasn't sure about this one, Kennesaw State.
They're D2.
So Kennesaw State has they come in at number 15. Then LSU, Coastal Carolina, Miami of Florida. Then the other D2 team, James Madison.
Oh, they were subdivision. They were in 1AA.
They're competing in the Sun Belt Conference. After James Madison, we have Florida, Clemson, Auburn, Georgia Southern, which is the other one I was thinking, probably not D1, and then Washington, and then Texas A&M.
Because when I was thinking of like D2 teams, I was thinking IUP, like Saginaw,
Pulled out Widener.
Dadron, Valdosta.
Let me see here. So the one that you picked that was like, oh my gosh, where did you pull that from? Here's our discussion about shark attacks. Like, never gonna lose. I'm never gonna get killed by a shark. That's for sure. Oh, you didn't pull out Widener. Who did you pull out?
I said
no. You did pull out Widener at 5. You said they're historically good.
Yeah, because my when I worked at the paper, my one friend's son was quarterback at Widener, so they were kind of fresh in my mind.
There you go. So I mean, the ones you missed on that list, I sent you the picture.
Yeah,
Carnegie Mellon at 6, Washington and Jefferson. I was actually surprised to see Duquesne on the list because I remember when Roseanne was there. I don't think they were really good those years.
No,
but they came in better than Kings, who's 44th. But I don't see Where's Wilkes on this list? I don't see Wilkes at all. So Kings, Wilkes is number 32, right ahead of Gettysburg. So that's interesting stuff, I think.
And BU was 13th, right?
Yeah. So I mean, they had some really, really good years, but they had some down years, which kind of hurts.
Yeah.
So
they had their down years like after Robert Redmond in the 50s and 60s. Before like Pete Adrian had his time at BU, and then Danny Hale obviously had his Hall of Fame career.
All right, so rank roulette time. We're going to do it with a twist today. I've seen this done on other shows, and I'm bringing it to our show because I think it's cool. We're going to do rank roulette with a twist. I'm going to give you $15, and you're going to have to buy 4 characters. You're going to create the strongest team of Star Wars characters. You don't have a mission. You don't need to live. Just the best team you can assemble. Okay? So I'm going to try. You have $15 right here, and on the screen, here's the first set of people you can pick from. So for $5, you can have Luke Skywalker. For $4, you get Mace Windu. $3, Lando Calrissian. $2, Chewbacca, or $1 gets you Jar Jar Binks.
I'll take Mace Windu for 4.
So you're going to go Mace Windu. So that puts you down. You're down at $11 now going into round 2. So you can still buy anybody you want.
Okay.
In round 2, you can buy Yoda for $5, Ahsoka Tano for $4, Han Solo for $3, Jyn Erso for $2, or the aforementioned C-3PO for $1.
I want Yoda for 5.
Yoda for $5. Wow. So now you're down to $2. No, math is
no,
hard.
not. I've spent 9 so far.
You have $6. I was looking at the 11. How much you had left, and I added.
You know who fails math in the Jedi Academy?
I added 4 plus 5 in my head to get 9, and 11 minus 9 was 2. No, so you have $6. You can still get anybody you want here in round 3.
Darth Remainder over here.
We go a little. We go dark here in round 3. So for $5, you can have Darth Vader. $4, you can have Darth Maul. $3, you can have Kylo Ren. $2 gets you Jabba the Hutt, or $1 gets you Captain Phasma.
I'll go Kylo for 3.
Kylo for 3. Oh, that's so disappointing.
That's Vidal Sassoon hair.
Oh, gosh. He'd have been so much better if he never took the mask off, ever. But I'm going to complain about it. So you have $3 left in the last round. You cannot buy Emperor Palpatine or Leia Organa. They were 5 or 4. For $3, you can buy Din Djarin, who was the Mandalorian. For $2, you can get Finn, or for $1, you can get Wicket the Ewok.
I'll take Din Djarin.
You can get the Mandalorian. I think that's not bad. So your final tab, not bad, is Mace Windu, Yoda, Kylo Ren, and the Mandalorian. That's an interesting team. I don't have a mission for you, so I can't quantify it.
Now, wait, can I add Kawhi Leonard? Those hands. He's going to be a matchup problem.
If he had any kind of force ability, he would be. I don't know what I would put that up against. So I think I'm gonna tell people. I'll tell the Star Wars fans in my life, like, dude, go to this section right here, and who would you buy without knowing what's coming up?
Can we do a starting 5 of Yoda, Mace Windu, the Mandalorian, and Kawhi Leonard? Against the AI basketball team and see how I do.
All right, hang on. So I have to. I think I closed out. Oh, you know what the cool part about Notepad is now? Unless you actually close this, it actually saves it. So I'm gonna call it the Jedi. Let's just copy and paste, because we still have this. The Jedi team consists of. So let's see. Who do you have here? Who do you want as your point guard?
Yoda, obviously.
Of Yoda as the point guard. Who's your shooting guard? You have Kylo Ren, Mandalorian, or Mace Windu?
Mace Windu seems like a natural too. Sam Jackson.
Really? I think Mace Windu is a power forward, but all right, it's your team. Mace Windu as the shooting guard. So you small forward.
Kawhi.
How do you spell Kawhi?
Kawhi.
Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard.
His name even sounds like a Jedi name.
As the small forward. Is he the Kraken? He's the Claw.
He's the Claw.
Who's the Kraken?
The Seattle hockey team?
There was a nickname. Somebody was the Kraken. All right, either way. All right, so now between Kylo Ren and the Mandalorian, you need a power forward in the center.
Kylo Ren's going to play the 4. Mandalorian's the 5.
That's the power forward. And I have to learn. I forgot how to spell this character's name. Din Djarin.
It was Dindjarin, I think.
Yeah. and Din Djarin. And I'm going to make it known that that is the Mandalorian. Mandalorian as the center. Okay. So I'm just simulate a 7-game series between two basketball teams. I'm enthralled with this. And it knows what we're doing. It says, let's ignite the lightsabers figuratively and tip off this clash. Amazingly, the Jedi team has scored 106 points in game 1, but the red team wins 112-106. Yoda has 12 points. Now listen, all-time Yoda. If you watch the lightsaber battle in episode 2, that guy could work.
A matchup problem he is.
He is. Mace Windu leads your team with 20, and Jordan only gets 28 on him. The Jedi team wins game 2.
Come on, Jedis.
Mace Windu took over. He hit 5 threes and brought elite defense on MJ late. He held Jordan to 26 points. He did better than Kobe.
Damn right he did. He's a Jedi. Kobe's a Laker.
Kylo Ren flexed his anger into rebounds and fast break slams. Oh, that's terrible. So now we go to the Jedi team arena. The Jedi team takes game 3, 108-103. Yoda was everywhere, diving for steals, even hitting a banked 3. Kawhi Leonard slowed down LeBron in clutch time. Like, LeBron can't beat Kawhi and a bunch of Jedi. I love this. Jordan goes for 30, but
Jordan's a problem in any galaxy.
A balanced offense. Kawhi with 20, the Mandalorian with 16, Mace Windu 18. The red team ties it up at Jedi Team Arena in Game 4, so 2-2. A Jordan takeover. He erupts for 37, who got help from Duncan, who boxed out the Mandalorian for crucial second chance buckets. LeBron 21-7 was outscored by Kawhi Leonard by 25. But 5 turnovers for Yoda. You can't do that.
Got to protect the ball.
That'll do it. Game 5. Oh, I don't even buy this. Kylo Ren was a beast, and Yoda threw an alley-oop to Mace Windu that brought the crowd to its feet as the Jedi team takes a 3-2 lead, 115-110.
All right, let's finish it. Finish it in 6, Jedi.
The red team struggles with defensive rotations. Jordan goes for 29. 12 assists for Yoda. All right. Well, we're going to game 7 again.
He's a facilitator.
Game 7. So game 6, the red team knocks off the Jedi team 124-109. And here LeBron actually has a good game. He gets 26 and 9 boards. Jordan 32 points, 2 steals. No turnover listed for the Jedi team. Just better offense for the red team. I love this. This is incredible. In the red team arena, 119-118 in one of the greatest game 7s ever. Mace Windu blocks Michael Jordan's potential game winner at the buzzer. Yoda runs a perfect final possession before he dishes to Kylo Ren for a corner 3. The Jedi team's composure and use of the Force wins the day.
Get that weak nonsense out of here, AI team.
I get the first pick in the draft and I lose, and you draft a $15 team of Star Wars characters
and Kawhi Leonard.
A team with LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kawhi Leonard. That's it. That might be the best thing we've ever done with AI ever. I love that. Yes. Run the MVP vote. Run MVP voting.
It might be Yoda or Mace Windu.
No, sadly, it's Kawhi Leonard. Oh, no. They're just giving you the main contenders. The main contenders are Kawhi Leonard, Mace Windu, and Yoda. And they give it to Mace Windu. Yeah, that's totally fair.
Well, he did throw down that alley-oop.
Totally fair.
Really energized the team.
A graphic style presentation, please. It's going to tell me no. It's going to tell me I have to wait. Mace Windu, shooting guard. This party's over. Give me a graphic, please. Come on now.
And you wanted to put Mace Windu at the 4.
Lots of people are making images right now. This might take a bit. Oh, dude, this is the best part of my day. And I wanted to put Mace Windu. I think he would have been a good 4.
I say this without a trace of sarcasm. So proud of myself right now.
I'm proud that you thought to do this. Oh, man. Come on. Lots of people are busy making images. This is more important. Who doesn't want to see Mace Windu on a basketball court? We didn't have this technology 50 years ago. Imagine the trouble we would have gotten into.
Oh, my God. Truly, I don't know how someone can be 14 and navigate a world with smartphones and AI. It's such a temptation to stupidity.
Trust me, I see it. Well, maybe not stupidity. This is like fun stupidity, though.
This is next level stupidity.
If somebody's trying to use this system to change the world in a positive way and we're slowing it down, then,
Yeah, someone at MIT is like, we finally cracked the code to cure cancer. What do you mean it's going slow? What could you be doing? Mace Windu graphic, what?
It'll be a minute. I'll tell you what, if it makes it, I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Oh boy. Because we're pushing. Wait, 2:30 today. That's a good show.
And the most important thing, we talked about the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, so we're here so we don't get fined. What are you watching on TV today?
I'll definitely be checking out basketball, and I might check out Dodgers Braves later on ESPN. But actually, I'm kind of in the mood now to check out some Star Wars stuff on Disney.
There you go. So I'm going to go see what Derek wants to watch, and it's about lunchtime. I have some meatballs that I saved from Friday, so that's going to be lunch.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get my customary Sunday bagel.
Sounds like a plan. Well, Tim, you have a good weekend. People in the interwebs world have a good weekend. We will see you when we see you. I'm not next week is kind of up in the air because I know I'm going to be out of town, and there's this thing on Sunday. I forget what it is. Mother's Day. So that's so it might be, we might take the week off. If we don't, it'll be a quick soiree into AI of some kind. But have a good one until then.